Hey, Prime members, you can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Download the app today.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Welcome to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. My name is James Petrogallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmy Wisman.
Thank you. We have a wild episode, as usual. We're going to finish out Sonny Liston today. Part 3 of Sonny Liston. We are so excited because this is really... It comes to a head.
This is when
it comes to a head.
This is when everybody knew him.
Oh boy, does he have the most wonderful Christmas ever in this episode? I
love a good Christmas story.
You're going to think of Santa Claus in a completely different way. No, it's just amazing. We can't wait. Quickly before we get to that, we'll go through this very quick because we got a lot of episode we want to get through. So shutupandgivememurder.com. Get your tickets if you're listening to this when it comes out regularly. Virtual live show still available. Yeah. It's available. It came out on the 20th. It's available for 7 days. Get in there. Boy, did I waste Jimmy. I know that.
My.
Got him so stoned
Jesus.
And all sorts of stuff. So that will have happened in the future. You'll see. See, I'm predicting the future here. This is good.
Have seen.
So do that. Live shows, May 5th, Detroit, May 6th, Pittsburgh, and whatever. Patreon.com/crime and sports. Bonus stuff. Anybody $5 or above. 2 new ones every week. We'll get to that.
It's all there.
It's all there. Just get in there and get it. Patreon.com/crime and sports. And you get a shout out at the end of the show, which is, of course, very exciting to have Jimmy mispronounce your name terribly. That said, though, clear that off and let's get right into Sonny Liston because there's so much to get into here. We left off with Sonny being arrested. Yeah. Shocking. Right. Yes, he was arrested for speeding and having a concealed weapon, and he was driving 76 and a 30. Which
Doing
was,
a lot of Sonny stuff.
Yeah, which was kind of, that is Sonny. That's what he does. He drives 76 and a 30. So let's start out this week with October the 23rd, 1964. Oh, boy. This is, there's going to be another fight with Muhammad Ali now, and it's interesting to see him in the paper as challenger Sonny Liston.
That's crazy.
It says, too, challenger Charles, and in parentheses, Sonny Liston. Right. Like, we all know him as Charles. By 64, yeah.
Charles Liston.
Chucky.
Rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, everybody knows that.
It's an awful name.
He said that he won't underestimate Muhammad Ali or try for an early knockout this time. Oh. He says now he knows, you got to be careful with Ali a little bit here. He does a little press conference on his way to training in Massachusetts, where, he's already here. He said that he hates the WBA, the World Boxing Association, which has refused to recognize the fight and taken away Muhammad Ali's title in their organization. Okay. Because it was I think it was WBC and WBA were the 2 titles that Liston had passed to him. And now they're saying that Ali can't have that. So.
Wait, hold on. When we left off, didn't he had just beaten Ali?
No, Ali beat him.
Oh.
Yeah, Ali won the title.
You're right. Yeah. You're right. What am I talking about?
I have no idea.
He was the champ, right.
Yeah,
and then Ali beat him. Right.
No, he's a challenger. So he's pissed at the WBA because he can't have an opportunity to win this belt back. Yeah. That belt. He says, quote, "What has the WBA ever given to anybody? You've got to give something. You've got to give something before you can take it away." Okay. Well, fair enough.
Fair point.
Yeah, he said, "I took Clay too lightly in the last fight. I don't anymore." That's good. They asked if Clay did something that he didn't expect when he lost to him last time, and he said, quote, "Yeah, I didn't think he'd run that much. Any fighter who runs is afraid." Okay. Which was just good strategy. He does. It's strategy when you got a guy who's a bull who hits hard and comes straight ahead at you. He doesn't like to run around, so make him run. I mean, art of war, If he likes to do this, make him do that. Don't fight his fight. That's stupid.
General Tsu from a long time ago, right?
That's a...
That's General Tso and his chicken,
I was going to say that they should have given Sung Zua his own chicken recipe rather than this General Tso. I don't know what he ever did for anybody, but I feel like this is much more valuable information. So they said that Liston said that he injured his shoulder 2 weeks before the fight last time, and that's what fucked him up. And so he said he didn't want to stop, though. His trainer made him stop in the 6th round. He said now his shoulder feels fine. And, he said his trainer, Willie Reddish, told him, you can mess up your life last time when he wanted to come out for the 6th round. He's like, you can't get out there if you can't defend yourself, can't lift your shoulder up. Yeah. So he says it was a mistake to stop, and he feels like if he kept going on, he could have eventually knocked Ali out.
He thinks that.
Which a guy like Liston, you never know. He could have caught him and knocked him out if he doesn't get knocked out himself, So
a bad shoulder, how are you going to protect yourself?
That's the problem.
Ali punches hard too, goddammit.
But a guy like Liston doesn't think like that.
Or really Clay at this point, right?
Yeah. He's going to be Ali for the next fight, I think. So he doesn't think really like that, though, Liston. He thinks, well, no one can knock me out because I'm Sonny Liston. Right. So eventually I could have just pounded him into the ground if he gave me enough time, is the way he looks at it. So Christmas 1964.
Oh, sleigh bells.
He's in training. You think he's going to be like laying low.
You got to.
Maybe he'll spend it with the family.
Eat some prime rib and bulk up.
Not too much. You don't want to get fat. You're in shape. You got cardio going on. He decides it's not the path he's going to follow for Christmas. He instead, on Christmas Day, 1964, gets in what's originally described as a, quote, shoving match. That's how it starts out with who do you think?
A police officer.
Yes. How about 10 police officers?
Holy!
How do you get in a shoving match with 10 armed people? That's number one.
Santa put the wrong thing under his tree.
On Christmas
10
Day.
of them.
Yeah. Those guys are like, I'm lucky I'm getting time and a half for this bullshit. I gotta fucking fight Sonny Liston now. So he gets in a fight with them. It's in Denver. So the Denver police he gets in a fight with. They had accused him of drunken driving, I guess. And
he disagreed.
He apparently had another idea of what happened here. So his arrest was the 3rd this year for traffic violations. And he's obviously he has to stand trial and everything like that. A shoving match with 10 cops.
Unbelievable.
On Christmas. I like how they knew when they pull over a drunken Sonny Liston, you better call in backup. If it's 1 or 2 cops, he will just kick your ass. Maybe put you in a trash can. There's a lot of things he's going to do here.
I'm pulling over the Liston, man.
Oh,
could you bring 9 more?
Please. I'm going to need a lot of whoever's out. I know it's Christmas. We're shorthanded, just so whoever's out there.
All of them. All 10 of them.
Shit, every time and a half soul we have right now. So at the time, he was convicted for the last speeding, by the way, and got a $600 fine and a suspended jail sentence for carrying the concealed weapon. Here, his latest encounter, though, on Christmas Day, officers said they saw him drive into a parking lot through the wrong...
in through the out.
He went in through the exit. So you let that kind of shit go with Sonny Liston, I feel like.
No, listen, law and order, James.
Yeah, I feel like you go, is that the least of what he's doing right now?
Who knows? There's rules.
It's fine.
We're in a society. You have to abide by the rules.
So let's all fight Sonny Liston. I mean, just common sense.
Sarge, he went in through the out. Send back up.
Is this worth it for a $4 ticket? Like, what are we doing here?
That's why he was stopped?
That's why he was stopped.
Wow.
So the officers summoned additional help when Liston became belligerent because leave him the fuck alone on Christmas, he's saying. So a representative named Hal Conrad of Intercontinental Sports, Inc., that's the promoters of the Liston Ali fight, and he's like, fuck me. Come on, Sonny. Jesus Christ. He said any court case would not interfere with the proposed fight. As long as Liston's on the street, this fight's going on, basically.
As long as he's free, we're doing it.
That's it. He said the rematch would be held in late May or early June, and he doesn't care, so he's ready to go. So Liston goes to court here.
The dumbest infraction. I mean, it's serious infraction, but the dumbest reason to start the infraction.
Yeah, that's, I would say, over that shit. But it's also because once they got him, they said, oh, you're also drunk. Right. And he said, get the fuck away from me. I'm also Sonny Liston, leave me alone.
Yeah.
So
sober or drunk.
Yeah, whatever
that man.
State I'm in.
Yeah.
You're not up to the challenge.
You're not him.
You better call backup, Chief. So he gets acquitted on drunken driving charges in February. Found innocent.
Wow.
Found innocent. And Liston, after the whole thing, a 6-member county court jury found him innocent. He said to the press, quote, "If you've ever had a beer, don't drive with nobody, walk." So don't drive if you've had one beer, is what he's telling you here. So
in the weirdest words ever.
In the strangest.
Don't drive with nobody.
Don't drive with nobody, walk.
Okay.
Great. But then that's public intoxication then.
Right.
So really.
How about get a ride?
Take a taxi, get a ride. So the Denver police officers testified that he was intoxicated when he drove his yellow 1965 Cadillac into an East Denver restaurant parking lot the wrong way.
Driving a yellow Cadillac.
Sweet.
The least inconspicuous.
No, that is the most conspicuous car that's ever existed. It's like 65 feet long. 65 feet long, weighs about 12 tons.
Bright fucking yellow.
Bright fucking yellow. Like if you put a turret on top, it's a tank.
You've never seen that as a getaway car from a robbery for anything.
No.
There's a reason, Sonny.
We had satellites in space that said, did a yellow Cadillac just turn into we can see it from up here. No, we don't even have the telescopes out. It's just
send 10 cops. I think we see Sonny.
Everyone can see it. So there was, I guess, more than 6 inches of snow had fallen as well. So that was part of it as well. So he said that at his trial, though, he said, "Listen, I wasn't drunk. I wasn't being belligerent. I had 2 eggnogs with brandy in the spirit of the season.
Oh my God!
I'm being a good Christian man and celebrating the birth of Christ."
Yeah.
With the tradition, it's what I believe somewhere in the Bible. Hold on, Your Honor. Let me flip through the pages. It says eggnog is fine on Christmas, I believe, to drive.
You don't understand. I drank brandy. I'm fine.
And a beer also.
Yeah.
So right away he admits to essentially 2 mixed drinks and a beer.
He put eggnog and a beer inside him?
On top of
Gross.
it. And a beer.
That's a bad belly.
But he said he wasn't intoxicated.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not fucked up. He said he was belligerent when the 3 officers who had been having coffee at the restaurant arrested him. He pulled in there like, oh, they just went outside, put their cups down and said, let's arrest Sonny Liston.
Yeah.
But he said the problem came from the treatment he received from the officers. He said, I was belligerent, yes, but their treatment, quote, would have made a preacher belligerent.
Oh, okay. They were belligerent too.
They were, even on Christmas.
They were belligerent first.
Yeah, so they made me belligerent, but no more belligerent than a preacher or anybody else in this situation would have been. He said, quote, I felt I was being picked on.
Okay.
Yeah. He told the jury he felt he was arrested not because he was drunk, but because he was Sonny Liston.
Oh. I mean, Sonny Liston's a bad guy, so.
Well, when you pull over Sonny Liston, you go, well, he's probably drunk. I'm sure he doesn't have a license, and he'll probably hit one of us. So basically, I better get my cuffs ready if I pull over Sonny Liston.
Yeah, preemptively cuff him.
I kind of think he's earned this by now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is like on The Wire when somebody would jump out of the car and Bodie'd be standing there. He might be holding.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're going to throw
up.
him up against the wall and search him because it's the usual suspect at this point.
Hook him up.
Yep. Here comes, it's Sonny Liston. Oh, boy. And then when you start shoving cops, that's not good either.
That's asking for it.
That's a little tough. So now to get back into the Ali fight, he's got to get back into training. This is the biggest fight of his life.
It sure is.
I mean, that's an odd way of training by fighting multiple cops.
it's a fascinating sparring match.
Where were you? His manager says. He's like, doing road work, which is beating up cops and his...
Yeah, I was free range sparring.
Yeah, I was just out there, you know how it works. It's just...
With all comers.
To take road work to the next level. So this fight coming in, people are suspicious of the first fight, obviously, because he didn't come out for that deal here. But people are very excited for this fight, obviously.
Yeah.
And Intercontinental Promotions, again, that comes up. There's the organizer promoters of this fight here. They said that if Ali should beat Liston, then and pick his opponent, he said that this was in the second contract. Okay, because there wasn't a clause for a rematch. Apparently, he could, if Ali won, he could pick his next opponent, and it's Liston who he's going to fight. So that's how it works. So the World Boxing Association did not allow fight contracts with rematch clauses, so they worded it like this instead.
Oh,
and that's why the WBA won't sanction the fight.
Oh,
how about don't worry about it, WBA?
Right.
Yeah, shut up.
A second match of that is a great fucking thing for the boxing world. It draws an audience.
Fucking
There's
stupid.
a story, for fuck's sake.
Here's what the attorney for them said, though, quote, "We felt it would be better advised not to have a guaranteed rematch clause. We felt this was way more in the spirit of the WBA rules than a direct rematch, which was clearly outlawed." He said that it was subterfuge they used, and they didn't appreciate it, so they're going to strip Ali of the belt. So stupid. So when Ali signed Liston to have a rematch, that's when the WBA voted unanimously to strip him of the title and drop Liston from its rankings completely, like he didn't exist.
We're gonna make this fight stupid.
Yeah, where for them it's a joke.
Yeah,
for them to do that's a joke. These are the two big guys that everybody wants to see fight. They're the former champ who beat everybody before that, kicked Floyd Patterson's ass twice, and the new guy.
Right,
that's 1 and 2.
It's
what
great.
are we doing here? This is ridiculous. So the World Boxing Council, WBC, and the New York State Athletic Commission and Ring Magazine continued to recognize Ali as champion because he is. That's stupid.
Because he has the championship.
Fucking
he has the belt.
Dumb.
He
won. Pressed by the WBA, which includes every U.S. state except California, Nevada, and New York, the only 3 at the time where big matches happened anyway.
Right.
So pretty much the WBA is a complete paper tiger here. Like there's no... They have a paper belt, but they don't have any power because where they fight, they don't hold any sway.
Right.
Yeah, so apparently state boxing commissions throughout the nation didn't want to license a rematch between these fighters, and it was difficult to find a venue because they were both so controversial.
What?
Ali's a fucking Olympic gold medalist, so there should be no controversy there.
But even controversy creates words.
That's
creates
right.
press.
But Ali, the only thing that's controversial about him is that it's 1964 and he's black and he's got a big mouth.
Right.
That's the only thing controversial about him. Other than that, there is no controversy.
He's just a guy.
He's done nothing. He hasn't even fucking, got out of Vietnam yet.
You don't understand, James.
Nothing.
Opinions are fucking detrimental to things.
You can't hurt people's feelings who are hardcore racists in the 60s. They'll really get upset. They're very sensitive. Hardcore racists are the most sensitive people ever. They really are. They're
sensible, James.
Well, no, I'm not even joking here. Seriously, like they're the most sensitive.
I know.
They should carry tissues with them because they're very upset.
Yeah, and tampons.
And tampons. They're very... No, you know what? If you can shove a tampon in yourself and bleed into it, I think I'm giving you extra credit for that.
I just mean at that time.
Yeah? Is that what you meant?
When you require those. When you require those, you're oftentimes emotional.
Maybe. But this is, they get a little upset with Ali for this whole time. But Liston, though, apparently right away when they signed it, Liston is immediately established as the favorite.
Yeah.
So 13-5 favorite, which makes Ali a greater betting underdog than Floyd Patterson was.
Is that right?
Even in the second fight after Liston had knocked him out quickly.
Fascinating.
So it's very interesting here. This time Liston's training hard. He said he's getting ready for a 15-round fight. Because last time he said, I only need to train for 7-8 rounds. I don't need to train for 15 rounds. Ali continues to taunt Liston like before the first fight. He dragged a bear trap to the pre-fight physical because he calls him a big ugly bear. Yeah, that's what I mean. He's putting some oomph into it.
Yeah,
get some attention for this fight here. It's a fucking boxing match. How else do you announce it? And he announced that he began manufacturing the Sonny Liston sit-down stool. Because Sonny stayed on the stool.
Not bad.
This is what he's doing here.
He's going to put it on QVC?
I think so. Yeah, he's going to have an advertisement for it. He'd be a good pitch man.
He would.
I could see that. Yeah. So it was supposed to happen in Boston, and that didn't happen, though. Mm-hmm. Ali apparently needed a emergency surgery 3 days before the fight.
Oh, shit.
So it got called off and moved for a, quote, strangulated hernia.
What is that?
That sounds terrible. I don't know what that is, but I do not want my hernia strangulated or anything else.
Is that when you have the hernia and then that piece is being like tight? You know what I mean? Around it.
I have literally no idea. I would assume. I mean, it sounds
think
like
that it's because a hernia is basically your ripped muscle and then your guts come through it, right?
Again,
generally, yeah.
Neither of us are. Yeah. We're both trying to.
I have a hernia. I don't know what the fuck it is.
It's funny to hear two idiots sit and try to figure out just from the name of something, what that could mean medically.
It's got to mean that the muscle tear
logical.
Is tight and there's more shit coming through than the hole.
It sounds so logical that I feel like if you told it to a doctor and went, that's what it is, right? They go, no, not even close.
You idiot.
Fucking stupid. It's this. They go, oh, sorry, I don't know what I'm talking about. That's right. It sounded logical to me.
But Ali had one.
Apparently he had one, yeah. So it would be delayed 6 months, the bout.
Oh, my.
To recover from all this. Yeah, they don't have laser surgeries back then where they can zip
you
it up
got to stitch it.
Yeah, they cut through muscles and shit to get to things. So the new date, May 26th, 1965. And as it approached, there started being stories that the promoters were tied to organized crime.
Oh, great.
It's boxing. Every fight that's ever happened, one of the promoters is tied to organized crime.
Yeah.
So shut the fuck up. But it's a bigger deal now for some reason. So they said that the people, they were having second thoughts. The district attorney, Suffolk County district attorney, sought an injunction to block the fight in Boston because the Intercontinental Promotions was promoting a fight without a Massachusetts license. And it's a huge deal. So anyway, May 7th is when they end up pulling the fight out of Boston and Ali has surgery and all that kind of shit. So they needed a new location quickly. And so they had to figure it out because they had a closed-circuit television commitment to go out. I mean, this was a big fucking deal.
Sure.
People go to the theaters back then to pay and watch the fight. So the governor of Maine stepped forward.
Attaboy.
It's like, you can have it here. No one else does anything up here.
There's nobody here.
Everyone will be fishing. So you won't be, the roads are open. It's lobster season, so I don't know. Lewiston, Maine. It's a mill town with a 41,000 person population. It's north of Boston, so people who were going to go from Boston can take the drive up there. It's 140 miles north of Boston. Not bad at all. They obtained a permit and started working with a local promoter. The venue was selected as Central Maine Youth Center.
Wow.
And, it's a junior hockey rink.
That's where they're going to do this.
That's where they're going to do this.
That's where Sonny Liston.
Can you believe that?
Wow.
That's fucking wild. So Lewiston was the smallest city to host a heavyweight title bout since Jack Dempsey fought Tom Gibbons in Shelby, Montana in 1923.
In Montana?
Montana. Yeah, I don't know if they were going out to like a mining camp or something, like when Johnny Cash played the prison. I don't know if it was one of those fucking things. Or
That's amazing.
That's crazy. They said that it is, it's to this day, it's the only heavyweight title fight ever held in the state of Maine.
Yeah, because where the fuck else are you going to do it?
They don't have any major cities. There's no major arena. They have junior hockey arenas. That's what they have.
You got Portland and Bangor, and they are.
Neither of
there's
them are
nothing
very big.
there.
No, they're just small, nice places.
It's awesome.
They don't want any part of this shit.
Good for Lewiston.
Yeah, good for them. So they said that it's going to be wonderful. The Governor Reed said that the, quote, "This is one of the greatest things to ever happen in Maine."
Yes.
Very excited here. Very excited. The atmosphere, a little bit tense. Ali has come out at this point, since he's been champ, and embraced the Nation of Islam and all of that sort of thing. So there's a lot of infighting in the Nation of Islam, too, at this point, because this is a few months after Malcolm X has been assassinated, and he was fighting with Elijah Muhammad. There's a lot of political stuff going on between them. And so rumors circulated that Ali, who had apparently publicly snubbed Malcolm X after Malcolm X had broken off with Elijah Muhammad there, they said that Ali might be killed by Malcolm X's supporters in retaliation for Malcolm X getting killed, because he's the most famous one on that side because he's the champ.
Yeah,
That's what they said. So the FBI took the threat seriously enough to post a 12-man, 24-hour guard around Ali before this fight. He had a dozen FBI agents.
He had government protection
around him, which for them, they were probably also spying on the Nation of Islam was probably part of it, too. I mean, that's what they wanted to do. So, and Liston's camp then claimed they got a death threat from the Nation of Islam. So they were now not only, in addition to a dozen FBI agents, he also has the Fruit of Islam around him, which is the bow tie security force that you'd see in many different aspects. Even fucking the O.J. Simpson defense team used them.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, they even used them around them for a long time. Had a bunch of them around there. So they would surround him, and so Ali would come and he'd have his normal entourage, plus he'd have shitloads of the bow tie guys, plus a dozen FBI agents around that. So it's quite a lot of layers going on here.
Ring around the rosy.
That's a lot. So it finally happens on May 25th, 1965 at the Central Maine Civic Center, where it all happens here. And Ali comes into this fight. Liston's 35-2 coming in. Ali 20-0. Referee here, by the way, Jersey Joe Walcott, who's a old champ boxer. So
is that right?
Yeah, they have I like that. I like an old boxer being the ref like that. Number one,
they know boxing.
They know boxing. They know when they can see cheap shit because they've done it. And number two, I think they have the balls to go, all right, get the fuck, break it out.
I also think they can recognize when somebody's really hurt.
That's the other thing.
You can really tell when somebody's been stung.
Because they've hit a guy and seen it in their eyes before.
Or they've felt it.
Exactly. They know what it looks like.
Yeah.
So this fight, the attendance for it, 2,434.
Oh, my God, that's amazing.
That's amazing. We could sell more than that in Chicago this year on August 12th.
Less than 3,000 people got to see this?
That is fucking crazy, by the way.
Wow.
By the way, I just have to say this. We were making fun of Impact Wrestling a couple of weeks ago. TNA Wrestling, now it's Impact. We were making fun of them, and somebody tweeted at me because Impact posted this thing, sold out for the 5th straight time, and they were like, looks like they're doing pretty good to me. And I looked up the venue. It's like a 2,000-seat venue.
They're not doing great.
So if a major wrestling company is bragging about a 2,000-seat venue,
that's embarrassing.
That's fucking embarrassing. Not even in the United States, too, in Toronto. So 2,000 Canadians are coming to see you. No offense, Canada.
Yeah.
But there's only 2,000 of you. Shut the fuck up. Jesus Christ.
Their audience is...
Are you kidding me? And they're bragging about it. People, looks like they're doing pretty good to me. Okay, let's play 10 straight days in a 100-seat venue, and we'll go. We sold out 10 straight nights. Look at us. That's stupid. Yeah. Jesus Christ. So this fight will be one of the most controversial in the history of boxing. This is, you could definitely, arguably, the most famous fight in history.
Yeah.
This is by far the picture in this fight.
The most recognizable shot ever. You see that picture, you know exactly who's fighting and exactly what happened.
You know everything. You see him, Ali. It's him with his crook of his arm there.
It's almost like a flex, but it's his second punch that he threw.
Yeah, and it's that fucking. He's like yelling. Yeah, and it's iconic, as iconic a picture as can be. It's that, and Lou Gehrig standing at the mic saying he's the luckiest man. There's like a few pictures that really transcend time, and that's one of them. So midway through the first round, Liston throws a left jab, and the what's said by Ali and everybody else is that Ali went over it with a fast right. Okay, now if you watch the film, Ali definitely throws a right. It is quick as fuck.
Yeah.
It's a lightning right, but knocks Liston down.
Yep.
Now, the thought is that with a quick punch like that, almost like a little jab, Sonny Liston doesn't get knocked out. He's just not that kind of boxer that gets knocked out.
He's taken that punch before 100 times.
He's taken 20 times harder. Yeah. So he goes down like a ton of shit on his back here. He rolled over, Liston. He gets up to his right knee, so it looks like he's getting up, and then falls over on his back again. So like he's too out of it to do anything. Now, many of the people in attendance, because it was so fast, and unless you were watching Ali's arm, if you were watching Liston come in, you wouldn't even have seen it. They didn't even see the fight. They didn't even see the punch.
Really?
So in the crowd, people are like, what the fuck? And people start booing. They think it's just they're standing there, and then Liston just fell down and act like he got hit. Like they're like, Christ, he could at least have him throw a punch.
Right.
So it's weird here. Now, Jersey Joe Walcott, the referee, this is where it's great to have a pro boxer as the referee, because he knows, sometimes a punch is short, but it'll get you. He said he had a hard time getting Ali to a neutral corner. Ali initially stood over Liston, as that's the fight. And when you see his mouth open, he is yelling, quote, "Get up and fight, sucker. Nobody will believe this."
Really?
That's what Walcott heard him say while he was trying to get him to the neutral corner. He's saying, "Get up and fight, sucker. Nobody going to believe this. Get up."
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. I'm going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
a big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them. Or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer. I can really show you how to make some money. And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a microcity built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
So, yeah, he's doing that. So the Neil Leifer, by the way, is the guy who took the picture from ringside, and it was chosen as the cover of Sports.
The most ripped-off person on the planet, probably.
Absolutely. Think about how many T-shirts you've seen that on.
I own one.
That's what I mean.
I guarantee he got nothing from it.
He got ugats from that. No. Absolutely. His family lives in trailer parks now going, motherfucking T-shirts.
That
Fuck
man's family and Bob Ross's family, the two most raped people on this planet.
That's it. Fucking hardcore, man.
Poor fuck.
He this was on the cover of Sports Illustrated later on. That was at the Century's Greatest Sports Photos
and it really
issue,
is.
and it's on the cover. So Ali then began prancing around the ring with his arms up.
Yeah.
That's the fight here. When Walcott got back to Liston after trying to get, because he won't start the count until Ali goes to his neutral corner. He goes to Liston and looked at the knockdown timekeeper, Francis McDonough, to pick up the count. Liston had fallen back down to the canvas, and Walcott did not pick up the count. He said he couldn't hear McDonough, who didn't have a microphone. So also that he said McDonough didn't bang on the canvas or motion to a number count with his fingers to say where we were, because he's going to go over and pick it up rather than start from one. Now they start from one.
Wow.
They don't start counting until you're in the neutral corner. So
is that right?
It takes you 20 seconds.
Hurry the fuck up.
Come over one. Yeah. Whereas back then they'd be like, I'm on 5. Like that's fucking wild, man. So McDonough, though, he claimed Walcott was looking at the crowd and never at him.
Really?
So yeah, he's going to blame the ref on this one. So after Liston got up, he ends up getting up. Walcott wipes off his gloves, as they do, and he left the fingers. He said to the timekeepers, waving both hands and saying, I counted him out, the fight's over. So Liston thought he was
ready to go.
He didn't know. Walcott never did any counting. He was like, okay, we're ready to go. And then the time guy on the side's like, no, I already counted him. Yeah, it's over.
It's like 4 seconds ago.
So Walcott said after the fight, he said Nat Fleischer was seated beside McDonough, who's the time guy, and he was waving his hands too, saying it was over. So then Walcott ran back to the fighters, who had resumed boxing.
Oh, Jesus.
They started fighting again.
Is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that fight, they're going at it again when it's over. So then Walcott had to go in the middle and fucking,
tell him anything from here on out is assault.
Yeah, he had to basically duck his head in there and be like, hit me, motherfucker. Like, yeah, don't hit me, guys. So he rushed back in there and stops the fight and gives obviously it's Ali's win.
Yeah.
So Liston's like, I was just punching.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? This is crazy.
I'm standing.
Yep. It's one of the quickest heavyweight title knockouts in history.
Really?
It's announced as 1 minute.
Is that right?
That's what it is. The official time of stopping was 1 minute, which was wrong, actually. Liston went down at 1:44, got up at 1:56. The fight was stopped at 2:12 officially.
Okay.
So that's the official here. Also, McDonough and Fleischer, the two counters on the side, were wrong in their interpretation of how the rules applied.
Oh, no.
Under the rules, the timekeeper's supposed to start the count at the time of the knockdown. The referee's duty is to get the boxer scoring the knockdown to a neutral corner, then pick up the count from the timekeeper and continue it aloud for the knockdown boxer.
Okay.
Under the rules of the main commission, The referee was authorized to stop his count if a boxer refused to go to the proper corner. That's a penalty. If you don't go to the proper corner, I'm not going to fucking start counting this guy. Right. That's their rules. So they said it might have been better if Walcott had stopped the count by the time knockdown timekeeper until Clay went to the neutral corner, then started again. That's what the main commissioner said. Okay. So now Walcott said, quote, "I did my job. Look, I'm brain damaged as fuck too. Listen.
Not taking shots, guys.
Listen, I'm the most mush pudding brain man in this ring. So out of the three of us, I'm the guy with the worst of it. Yeah. So, I did my best." He said that I did my job. He said Ali looked like a man in a different world. I didn't know what he might do. I thought he might stomp him or pick him up and belt him again.
Really?
He was just... He's not crazy.
No, he's
he was
a
just being
sportsman.
a showman.
He
yeah.
still knows the fucking rules.
Jesus.
He's not going to grab an anvil and hit him with it.
No shit. That is crazy. Now, McDonough, the timekeeper on the side, said, quote, "If that bum Clay had gone to a neutral corner instead of running around like a maniac, all this trouble would have been avoided." So rather than them doing their job, he blamed the guy who is in the middle of a fight.
Yeah, but I lost count because of him. I can't count to 10 when people dance.
When someone's walking around with their arms in the air, he was talking. Do you understand? It's very distracting. I'm trying to... Wow.
Counting to 10 is tough that way.
Then he said after Jersey Joe, after he got that wild man Clay back to a neutral corner, but he didn't. So that was that. So he blames the referee and Muhammad Ali rather than him, whose only job is to count to 10.
Right.
And he doesn't do that properly or at the correct time as well. But it's not his fault.
And then he realized it's way past 10 seconds, right?
It's everyone else's fault. So when the fight ended, immediately, because the people in the crowd, number one, it's a minute into the fight, they barely sat down.
Right.
Some of them are still arriving, for
There's
Christ's sake.
probably people still getting beer, too.
Yeah, there's people in the car going, "Oh, boy, it should be mid-first round right now. It's going to be a great fight." And they get in there and everyone's leaving.
There's people arguing with parking attendants saying,
Shit.
$8, how
This is
dare
crazy.
you?
Back then, 75 cents. Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind?
That's my car payment.
I can get 5 malts for that much. That's crazy. Jesus Christ. Kidding me? Fucking heck, I could send my kid to college for a semester for that. So the fans started yelling "fix" from the side from the side of the ring because that's what they thought. They didn't see a punch. They called the knockout blow. This is the famous phantom punch, they call it in this here. Ali called it an anchor punch instead.
What does that mean?
Just knocked him down like an anchor. It pulled him down. So it wasn't a phantom punch. It was an anchor punch.
I've seen this fight on Classic Sports, and he misses him a few times, too.
Yeah.
If he connected with all of them, he may have killed that man that night.
I don't know.
If he's that who knows? Maybe it is fixed, too.
That's with Liston.
Anything's...
You know what I'm saying? Anything is in play with
Yeah.
Liston. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's Christmas. Fight 10 cops. Do something. Like, he's done so much crazy shit. It's really difficult.
Yeah.
We don't know. He's involved with the mob. He's fucking not. He's a manager. Like, who the hell knows what's going on with this guy?
He also did not have a day job after this ever again, so who knows what money he got.
13-5 odds. If those are the odds,
I'd bet against those. I'd bet for him too.
I want to know and we'll talk about this, but I want to know exactly, because the FBI would have been looking at betting lines to see when they moved and shit like that. So I'm very curious to see if this was, if somebody lays it off properly, though. A lot of these gamblers, they'll do it all over the country with 100 different bookies, so it's all laid off and doesn't look like it's coming from one person. It just looks like there's the odds are moving because there's a bunch of people at the last minute going, well, I'll take a chance on the underdog.
Yeah.
So
there's a bet from Sonny Liston.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, no, he wouldn't even know it's happening, probably. He wouldn't make the money on it.
Yeah.
Sonny Liston. Charles...
Lawrence Chiston.
Oh God, no! Charles Siston. That's his name from now on. It's Charles. They'll never know that. No one knows my name is Charles. It's fine.
Yeah, just see if there's a bit from Charles Liston.
Is there anything for that? Have we looked on that at all?
They think I'm Sonny.
I don't know. Jesus, I'm just Charles. I don't know. Well, there actually is another Charles, as we'll talk about. So you know what? That would be possible. Ali said he was unsure after the fight as to whether or not the punch connected.
Okay.
That's what Ali said. As footage from the event shows Ali in the ring he asks a guy next to him, quote, "Did I hit him?"
I mean,
which
obviously.
you should know that probably.
Yeah.
You can feel when you connect with a man's head hard enough to knock him out, I feel like.
When you threw a punch,
Right?
did you feel it hit anything?
No shit.
You should know.
Well, Ali told the Nation of Islam minister, Abdul Rahman, he said that Liston laid down, and Rahman said, "No, you hit him."
Oh.
Okay.
Rahman doesn't want any sort of
Well, this is good for all of us. Everyone shut the fuck up.
No, you
hit him. You're the champ. Everything's great. Rahman later said, Ali hit him so fast, Ali didn't even really know he hit him.
So fast.
Which,
he
again,
didn't know.
no matter how fast you hit someone, that doesn't affect the impact. That's like saying, I mean, I was driving 100 miles an hour. How could I tell if I ran that kid over? I have no idea. Who knows? I was sure everything happened so fast.
I've heard that you won't know what hit you, but I've never heard, I'm so fast I don't know if I hit anybody.
If I hit you. I'm so fast I won't know what hit you. Is weird. That's different. Yeah, he said that he didn't really know what hit him, and it took a long time before he even saw the punch he hit Sonny with. I guess on the tape he said saw.
Develop it.
Ali never threw the anchor punch again, nor did he ever refer to it again. Which, if he had a punch that he gave a nickname to that won him, knocked Sonny Liston out in the first round, he probably never shut the fuck up about that till, he dropped dead, basically. He'd have been shaken 30 years later talking about it.
Have you ever heard of the anchor?
Yeah. So after the fight, a guy named George Chivalo climbed through the ropes and shoved Ali, yelling, "Fix, fix, fix." So he shoved him. He was restrained, but he later said that he'd seen Liston's eyes while he was on the floor, and he knew that Liston wasn't knocked out or in bad shape. He said his eyes were darting from side to side like this. He said when a fighter is hurt, his eyes roll up. If he's knocked out, his eyes roll up. But a lot of times you see this. When a fighter's figuring out what to do, he is looking back and forth because he's looking to see.
When he's coming to.
Where am I? What's going on? Where am I?
Who's over there?
Who's there? How far am I away? Because you're in a fight. So
Right.
your immediate thing is, I'm in danger.
Right.
It's, holy shit, where's the enemy? Where's this? Where's my corner? Am I in the ring still? Things like that, especially if you were out for half a second. You scare the shit out of you. So that doesn't mean anything. Now, Larry Merchant, who was at ringside, Larry Merchant is obviously been around forever.
Yep.
He, by the way, has done nothing but trash Liston throughout his whole career as a person. He wrote, this is 50 years later, quote, "I saw the actual punch land on the actual chin, as did others in my area of the press section."
Okay.
So he said it was a quick right hand that caught Liston as he was coming forward. That's what it was.
That's
he
the
said
problem.
he came in just as the punch came out, and that's probably what nailed him.
Yep.
And if you're going for a punch and you're not braced for a punch with your neck and it snaps your head a little bit, that's how you get knocked out.
Yeah.
That's exactly how you get knocked out.
And moving forward, while a punch coming back at you,
you're
it's
adding force to it.
Throwing your brain into your fucking front of your skull.
Yep, absolutely. So that's a thing. And ringside doctors said that this is from Larry Merchant. He said that ringside doctors that he's spoken to and about this, trying to figure it out over the years, said it's a classic example of a medulla oblongata KO.
Oh, God.
So a water boy KO is what we would call this. This is the Sandler.
This is where you attack the KFC guy.
Yeah, that's exactly right. This is where you're very angry about your mother and you attack someone. So world light heavyweight champion Jose Torres, who saw the fight, said, quote, "It was a perfect punch."
How about that?
It's just one of those immaculate things where you were throwing a little punch. He happened to be putting his face right into it and not see it.
Yeah.
It's one of those things also where they always say in boxing that it's not the punch you see, no matter how big of a punch it is. It's the one you don't see that knocks you out, even if it's not that big of a punch, because it makes your head snap.
You're
and
not
your
able to
brain.
react to it.
Yeah.
Right.
Ever seen Rahman knock out Lennox Lewis?
Yes.
Did that look? I mean, he just never saw that fucking punch coming,
and
his head snapped, and he went down like a ton of shit. 'Cause,
Yep.
I mean, just a lucky punch. It happens. It's boxing.
Yeah.
Christ, it can happen. Jim Murray of the Los Angeles Times wrote, quote, "It was no phantom punch." And Tex Mall of Sports Illustrated wrote, "The blow had so much force it lifted Liston's left foot, upon which most of his weight was resting, well off the canvas."
Is that right?
As he was coming in, his left foot was forward, and it lifted him up from right where he hit him. So it was a good shot. You can see he definitely punches him.
Absolutely.
He definitely does. He said, Larry Merchant said, Many people in the arena did not see the punch, understandably, or they couldn't believe that it had the force to knock out the seemingly indestructible former champion. He said that he thought the belief that the fight was rigged, he called it the, quote, apparently unkillable myth. Many people believe that the moon landings were staged and probably right there in Lewiston also.
Okay.
So it's listed, it's the Phantom Punch, it's the moon landing never happened, it's that thing he's saying. Now, they do a slow-motion examination of the fight, and it shows that the punch definitely landed. Yep. It was a short grazing right to Liston's cheek, and they said it looks like it's not a powerful punch, but who knows what the hell kind of force is behind it. And Don Dunphy, who's a Hall of Fame announcer, he said that he didn't believe the fight was on the level. He said, quote, if that was a punch, I'll eat it. I don't know what he's planning on eating there.
Yeah.
The punch or the microphone he's talking into
or a dick.
Whose dick? Liston's? Ali's?
Yeah.
Walcott's?
Just the one.
The counter guy? Who are we talking about? Somebody. Yeah. Now, he says, though, that here was a guy who was in prison, and the guards used to beat him over the head with clubs and couldn't knock him down. And he said, now this punch knocks him out about Liston.
Okay.
But other people said it wasn't the same Liston anymore.
Yeah.
He is anywhere from 33 to 47 years old at this point. We have no fucking idea how old he is. Seriously, he's taken a lot. He hasn't fought a lot in a long time. It's been, I mean, he's
lived a hard fucking life, too, no matter what those years are.
Yeah.
Double him, because he's been doing some crazy shit his whole life.
A lot of eggnog brandy going on.
Yeah, the man's boozing on Christmas.
Not to mention, he's 35-3 in his fights, but what about the his fights on the street with cops and such? He's got more there.
There was 10 in one day.
No shit. I'm 10-0, motherfucker. 10-0 on Christmas. Mark it down. So Dave Anderson of the New York Times said that Liston looked awful in his past workout before the fight, and Liston's handlers secretly paid his sparring partner an extra $100 to take it easy on him.
Really?
So Liston was doing not well. And your 30s, boxing skills fall apart quickly in your 30s.
Do they?
A little bit. You can see it when you watch it.
My yard work skills diminished in my 30s, for Christ's sake, and that's not defending myself.
Yeah, no, your masturbation skills are the only things that you can hone past your
longevity
20s.
After
that, besides that, honestly, everything else falls apart. But especially physical things.
Yeah.
And boxing is the difference between being the heavyweight champ of the world and losing every fight is this. It's so fucking thin as far as you're this much less quick than that guy or this much less powerful. Your brain is this much more damaged. Or when you're 37 anymore, it's falling apart no matter how much you don't want it to.
Sure.
So, yeah, it seems silly. So Arthur Daly of the New York Times said that, they just knew he didn't have it anymore, Liston's handlers. And I don't know. One ringside observer here, who was former world heavyweight champion James J. Braddock, he said that the Ali right hand merely finished up what an earlier punch had begun. He said, I have a feeling that this guy, Ali, is a lot better than any of us gave him credit for.
Wow.
So he set him up with a punch before that left Liston a little loopy, and then the combination of him coming in and the punch.
He was already on edge.
Just
needed a push.
Yep. He said, it isn't the knockout punch that sticks in my mind as much as the punch he let go earlier. It was a right to Liston's jaw, and it shook him to his shoe tops. For all we know, it could have been the one that set up the knockout. Hey, he might not have been right yet, but Liston's not a guy who will, when he gets hit and he gets hurt, he's not a guy who says, oh, shit, let me back off for a second. He's a guy who goes, I better hit you so you don't hit me next.
Right.
So that makes him charge. He's just a different kind of fighter. Rocky Marciano also, he said that he watched it live, and then he watched it the next day over again at the videotape, and it said watching the tape changed his whole view.
Really?
He said, quote, I didn't think it was a powerful punch when I saw the fight from ringside. Now, after seeing the video, I think Clay, seeing the opening, snapped the punch the last 6 inches. So, I mean, Jesus Christ, Joe Frazier used to have a left hook that went from here to here that knocked people the fuck out. Nobody said anything. So he added that he still didn't think it was a knockout punch, though, is what Marciano said. Ali said he didn't think that he knocked Liston out.
Right.
He said here in a biography from 1991, he said, quote, the punch jarred him. It was a good punch, but I didn't think I hit him so hard that he couldn't have gotten up. Once he went down, I got excited. I forgot about the rules.
Yeah.
It's a minute into the fight. So Liston, quoted 2 years after the fight, said, Ali knocked me down with a sharp punch. I was down but not hurt, but I looked up and saw Ali standing over me. Ali is waiting to hit me. The ref can't control him. So he says that he was a little bit hurt, but he wasn't like knocked out, but he was staying down till the ref got Ali the fuck away from him, because he said he thought that if he got up, he wasn't safe. He thought the ref couldn't keep him away from him. So he's like, yeah, I get up and then he hits me 5 more fucking times.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that, which is smart.
Yeah.
It's why, that would be a smart thing. So, I mean, who knows?
So is that him explaining starting to get up and then going back down because Ali's running around?
I guess. And then the extra time, well, I think maybe he fell down. And then once he got up, though, I guess, yeah, he's saying that he was not getting up on purpose.
Yeah.
Because Ali wasn't being controlled by the ref. He's supposed to go to a neutral corner so the guy can get up and not be attacked.
Right.
That's the point of it. So that's fucking interesting, actually. I didn't even actually think about it like that. One guy says he saw Liston in Las Vegas in 1967 and asked him what happened. And he said it wasn't that hard of a punch, but it partially caught me off balance. And when I got knocked down, I got mixed up because the referee never gave me a count. I was listening for a count. But the first thing you do, that's the first thing you do. But I never heard a count because Clay never went to a neutral corner.
So he thought that he was under the impression he wasn't getting counted yet.
Yes, he thought, okay, I'm not going to get up because he's on top of me. And then once they get to a neutral corner, then the count starts. Then I can get my shit together, get up on 5 and figure it out. That was what he was thinking that he said. He says that Liston told him, another guy said that Liston told him that he simply, because he said he lost because the timekeeper couldn't count. Is what he said, because he was obviously ready to get in there and start fighting again. Mark Cram of Sports Illustrated said that Liston told him, quote, that guy Ali was crazy. I didn't want anything to do with him. The Muslims were coming up. Who needed that? So I went down. I wasn't hit. That's what the Sports Illustrated guy claims that Liston told him a few years later.
That's not good.
That's not great to hear. Another guy here, Wilfred Sheed, he offered his opinions in a 1975 book called Muhammad Ali, A Portrait in Words and Photographs. He said that Liston was going to throw the fight going in, and when he suffered a legitimate flash knockdown in round 1, he decided that was the spot to do it in. He said he got knocked off balance and got knocked down. He probably could have jumped right back up again.
This is as good as place, Andy.
Yeah, fuck it. If we're going to do it anyway, why stand here and get hit more? That's stupid. Jesus, been hit enough in my life. And they said it was Walcott's confusion and Ali's behavior that forced Liston to feign disorientation for far longer than a knockout of that type would have caused.
Okay.
If he ran right to the neutral corner, he started counting, and Liston, he could have faked a 10, but it was like 25 seconds. It was forever.
So it's he threw it and they fucked up.
Yeah.
It looks shitty because they fucked up. If they wouldn't have fucked up, you wouldn't be talking about this being thrown.
Basically, yeah. I think it's one of these meet in the middle type things. I think he got knocked down legitimately.
Yeah.
And they said like a flash knockdown, that happens all the time to people that don't expect to get knocked down. Sure. So I think he got knocked down legitimately, and then I think maybe he said, well, there's no reason to really get back up now.
Why would I do that?
Why would I do that? That's possible. In 1995, an HBO documentary about Liston here, Johnny Tocho, who owned a boxing gym in Las Vegas, he spoke with a mobster named John Vitale before the rematch and was told not to pay any attention to what he heard about the fight. He was also told that this guy should be glad that he wasn't going to Lewiston, and when he said why, Vitale told him that the fight was going to end in the first round. Oh. So the mobster told him, don't even bother going to the fight. You won't like it.
So a long trip for nothing.
Nothing. So during the same documentary, FBI agent William F. Romer Jr. said, "We learned that there very definitely had been a fix in that fight." The FBI did. Huh. He said that Bernie Glickman, a boxing manager from Chicago with mob ties, claimed that while he was conversing with Liston and his wife before the fight, Liston's wife told Liston that as long as he had to lose the fight, he should go down early and avoid getting hurt.
Yeah.
If you're going to lose anyway, just fucking go down. What are you going to get punched for 5 rounds for nothing? That seems stupid.
Don't do it in the fucking last round.
Yes. This fight, because a lot of the country hated both of these guys, and these are the top fighters, and B, because they're talking about organized crime and the Nation of Islam and this one and that one and fixed fights and all this shit. There was a huge outcry by a bunch of politicians and the press to abolish boxing at this point.
Stop it all.
Get rid of it all.
Yeah.
Not because people are scrambling each other's brains and it's obviously crazy to do.
Not because it's the wise thing to do.
Two things in this world that if we started from scratch, if aliens came down and said, we're starting over from scratch with rules for stuff, two things they'd go, well, boxing and motorcycles seem like the dumbest thing possible, right?
Why would you do either of those things?
So let me get this straight. If you get in one of these, it's a big metal box that weighs tons.
Yeah.
You have to. The rules are you have to have these special brakes and a belt that goes across that keeps you in, and airbags that come from 5 sides that like make you like a. You know what I mean? It inflates you in place.
Yeah, that's what it has to have.
That's all these things have to have. Now a motorcycle, you just sit on an engine. And fucking go. It's 60. That's legal.
And
no helmet.
We're gonna delete two tires from it.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Not only are you have no protection, but you balance yourself. And some states like this fucking Arizona, you don't even have to have a helmet on.
Momentum will keep you up. Don't worry.
It's wild. It's fine. I don't care.
All right.
If you want to be splattered, you want to be splattered on a truck. That's up to you. What I'm saying is, if we started with logically what should be against rules and what shouldn't be, that's clearly the dumbest thing we have that's legal. It's fucking crazy.
Any form of fighting of two individuals.
Again, boxing, any of that shit. They'd be like, you can't just stand and punch each other in the face for that long. Not that it shouldn't. I like boxing. I'm just saying if we started logically, we'd definitely be like, well, boxing and motorcycles, and let's go from there.
Don't do any of those.
That seems crazy. So they want to abolish boxing. Bills to ban the sport were planned in several state legislatures at that point. It became a popular political move.
Yeah.
You know, especially in the South and the Midwest, it was especially popular to say that. A promoter in San Antonio apologized to his theater TV customers on the basis that they had been defrauded by a shameful spectacle and donated his take to the boys' clubs of San Antonio.
Oh, he won money on the fight.
Well, he ran the theater pay-per-view crowd, so that money that he made there. The California legislature in session received a resolution calling for an investigation by the state attorney general to determine if its closed-circuit viewers had been fraudulently duped out of their money. So from the consumer side, they're doing it. For those who here are the theories, okay? There's theories to all of this. That this is the Liston took a dive list here. Number 1, the mafia forced him to throw the fight as part of a betting thing. Okay, and that the FBI would know that because they monitor that kind of shit. Number 2, Liston bet against himself and took a dive because he owed money to the mafia.
Okay,
that would probably be no.
They would maybe owe him.
Well, if he owed money to the mafia, they would maybe make him take a dive as his payback to them for that. That could happen, but he wouldn't bet on himself to then, because he's betting with them.
Right.
So if he owed them money, they're not going to let him bet on himself.
Or bet against himself. Right. This isn't fucking Snatch.
That's what I mean. It's stupid.
But if anything, he's worked for them. They would fucking owe him. You know what I mean?
No, but he's a gambler, though.
Oh, good point.
So anybody who's a gambler like this,
he loves those fucking casinos.
To gamble. Yeah. Oh man. So a couple of members. Here's theory 3.
Yeah.
A couple of members of the Nation of Islam visited Liston's training camp and told Liston they would kill him if he won.
Oh, so now it's a.
I mean, it would take more than a couple, probably.
Yeah. 10 cops couldn't do it. They all got guns.
Let's say we had to go threaten Sonny Liston's life.
Yeah.
What kind of fighting force are we bringing with? Just me and you, or are we bringing more people?
Want to bring SEAL Team 6 or some
that's what I mean.
Israeli army?
Listen, motherfucker, and we're going to threaten him and tell him that he's not allowed to do a thing he wants to do.
I'm not doing it alone.
That seems a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems like an understatement. I don't believe that. Unless they said like 8 carfuls came. Yeah. I don't believe it. I just don't.
I'm going to take at least a Krav Maga class.
Yeah. And at that point, too, it's not like the Nation of Islam had the same rep as like the mob that if you cross them, you'll definitely end up in a car trunk. They were fucking new. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Let's see what you got. Because, I got other guys over here who I know kill people, and they want me to do something else. So also here, author Paul Gallender claims that members of the Nation of Islam kidnapped Liston's wife Geraldine and his son Bobby, and Liston was told to lose the fight to Ali or he'd never see his family again.
Oh,
I don't believe that either. I feel like if you kidnap Liston's wife, you better hide.
That is I'd sooner kidnap Liam Neeson's wife.
That's what I mean. No shit. At this point, too, he works with the mafia. So if they kidnap his wife and son, he's going to go to the mafia and go, my wife and son got kidnapped, and they're going to go get him back for him.
Yeah.
That's how that's going to work because he's making them money.
I don't think any threat of injury to him was made.
That's what I don't think either. I think this is if anything, it's got to be a financial arrangement. Yeah. That's that you could get Sonny on,
sure.
Especially a boxer at the end of his fucking career
who's worked with the mob.
Yeah, I could see that going. They're going, listen, Sonny, you're getting old. We got to feather your nest egg a little bit here. You know, let's go over here.
At some point, you're going to want to sit down.
I'm going to fucking do that. Yeah, we're going to get you one of those stools Ali is selling. Fucking perfect. So Liston was afraid that he would be accidentally shot by followers of Malcolm X as they tried to kill Ali in the ring. That's one of the other rumors. There's also claims attributed to Liston and others that he threw the fight in return for a share of Ali's future purses. Like they offered him like a cut. Like, listen, if you just throw this, Ali will give you a cut in the future.
Remember how everybody had 2% of you? We're going to give you 2% of him.
That's what I mean. I don't believe any of those things. No. The claims, these facts here, though, Chuck Wepner, here we go. Credence to those claims is provided by the fact that after his last fight with Chuck Wepner, because that's Liston's last fight is with our Bayonne bleeder himself there, Chuck Wepner, Liston seemed more preoccupied in supporting the proposed Ali Frazier bout and Ali's claims to the title other than his own career.
Behind the closed doors of government offices and military compounds, there are hidden stories and buried secrets from the darkest corners of history. From covert experiments pushing the boundaries of science to operations so secretive they were barely whispered about. Each week, on Redacted, Declassified Mysteries, we pull back the curtain on these hidden histories. 100% true and verifiable stories that expose the shadowy underbelly of power. Consider Operation Paperclip, where former Nazi scientists were brought to America after World War II, not as prisoners, but as assets to advance U.S. intelligence during the Cold War. These aren't just old conspiracy theories. They're thoroughly investigated accounts that reveal the uncomfortable truths still shaping our world today. The stories are real. The secrets are shocking. Follow Redacted, Declassified Mysteries on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Redacted early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this white Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. I'm going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
a big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
Okay, but that might be because there's a lot of reasons for that. He might have promoters because he's living and hanging out in Vegas by then. So he might have promoters saying, "Hey, if you're pushing this fight, we'll give you chips at the casino." Who the fuck knows what behind the scenes arrangements we have there? So in the end, even though it's been 60 years, we have no fucking idea what happened. Conclusively,
that's crazy, right?
How could we? Yeah, we don't know. I mean, even though after the fight, even if one of them said what happened, even by then they'd have other motivations for who knows what the hell. I mean. You could want to sell books. You could. There's a ton of reasons to say you did or didn't do anything.
Sonny
like
wants
that.
to keep not working, so
he'd like that.
Who knows?
Gambling would be fun. He could do that for a living. So he didn't complain about Liston didn't complain about the breach of the boxing rules being declared knocked out without a count.
Yeah.
The ref never said four once.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. You need to do that. And also Ali asking his handlers, did I hit him and all that kind of shit. So in a Sports Illustrated report from 1991, they say that, quote, 2 well-dressed black Muslims showed up in Maine before the fight, and when Ali had just become a Muslim, and warned Liston, you get killed if you win. That's, I don't believe at all.
No.
Like I said, 2 guys are both getting knocked out.
Yeah.
He's going to fucking pile them, stack them like cordwood outside. Any more? Want to come 2 at a time, motherfuckers? Literally, multiple cops don't scare him.
Right.
Who have guns and would love to shoot Sonny Liston. Come on. Give me a
2
fucking
Muslim
break.
fellas? I'm not scared. Not if I'm him.
I am. He's not.
Yeah, right. I don't want to fight 2 guys.
We should be. He's not at all.
Yeah.
Liston publicly denied taking a dive. Sports Illustrated writer Mark Cram said that years later, Liston told him about the Ali thing, about the Muslims. I wasn't hit. So who the fuck knows? During the fight, though, he's going to remain, Liston's going to remain after this fight inactive for over a year.
Really?
In terms of boxing, inactive.
Right?
He'll be plenty active out on the streets, as we'll talk about. October 5th, 1965.
Yeah.
Get back in the mix here for Sonny. He's speeding again. Doesn't seem to be able to not
Where's
do
he
that.
going?
Denver. He's in Denver again. He's arrested and charged with driving 38 and a 25.
Okay.
He's got no license either.
That's why.
I mean,
13 isn't arrestable, right?
Never has a license. Yeah. That's the big issue. The patrolman said he clocked Liston's 1965 white Cadillac.
Oh, he's got a white one now.
He's just trading in Cadillacs
Loves
for
caddies.
new caddies, man. That's the thing. On the radar and made the arrest. They said he was alone in the car, and there you go. Now he's in a movie here, or he's in a movie here. He's
in 65.
In 65, it is gets a 4.8 out of 10 on IMDb. It's called Harlow, and it's loosely based on the life of 1930s star Gene Harlow, and he plays a fighter.
Is that right?
So there you go. He gets a little work there. That helps. March of 1966. You know what? He's got to clean it up.
Yeah.
He's got to really lock it down, button it up. You know what I'm saying?
If you want to take another chance,
you got to do it.
Get a run at it.
He's going to move. He needs to move. He needs a new fresh slate.
No more Denver.
Fresh slate, somewhere where he can start a clean, wholesome life again.
Yeah.
Like Vegas in the 60s. That's where he needs to move.
Is that right?
That's where he moves. He moves to Vegas.
It.
Swear to God. He moves to Vegas. Oh, man. That's
not doing a lot for that. I'm not involved with the mob shit, Sonny.
No. And wait till you see where he lives and shit. He's basically De Niro's casino house, the one he lives in.
Course?
Yeah, where the feds land there and the golf. That's where he lives.
They ran out of fuel and landed on the 8th green.
Yeah, look at these fucking guys. Hey, $100 anybody who hits the fucking plane. And they start hacking the balls at the plane. I love that so much. $100 for anybody who hits the plane. Might have been 1,000. I don't remember. So there's this article talking about his wife Geraldine set up housekeeping Wednesday at Liston's new home near the 16th fairway of the Stardust Golf Course.
Literally on the golf course.
Literally, that's the fucking house.
That's amazing.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if that house is Sonny Liston's old house. I really wouldn't.
I think that house is significant. It might be that house.
Literally, if it's Sonny Liston's old house, I will shit myself because that's amazing.
I wonder if it. I know that house is very significant.
I don't know that. Also, who knows if when they filmed it though, if that was actually that house or if that was in fucking L.A. or if that was.
I'm not going to Google it, but it's in Vegas.
I know they filmed it. Yeah. Who knows? I just mean like you can steal a shot somewhere if they had to.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I don't know if they stole the shot or whatever, but either way, I think that it was based on that. So Geraldine said that Sonny's going to come up to Vegas after tuning up for an exhibition bout in Anchorage, Alaska. She said he would leave shortly after for a comeback try in 3 bouts in Europe.
Oh.
So they moved there. April 5th, 1966. Okay. It's a different Sonny.
Yeah.
Now, you know what, Jimmy?
He's matured.
He's good now.
All it took was Vegas.
You know what happens, Jimmy? Yeah. Sometimes the world gets a little crazy.
Yeah.
And you just need to step back.
Yeah.
You need to get yourself in a good blackjack game.
Yeah.
And
breathe in that post-nuclear blast.
Yeah, maybe go to a brothel. And the radiation left in the air will clear your thoughts. It's just better.
Breathe in the fucking blast zone.
Here's this article. He's working to change his image.
Okay.
Wow, that's interesting. He said he's going to do it. He's interviewed by an executive sports editor for the Seattle Post-Intelligencer when he returned from Alaska. And they asked him, what are your future plans, Sonny? And he says, quote, try to help the kids out.
Okay.
Pardon? It's so funny that the reporter asked, quote, what do you mean exactly?
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean? Yeah. Liston said, why don't they ever write that?
Right, what?
He says, what are you talking about, Sonny? And Liston said, the good things I do. The people never hear about them. They just let me spit on the sidewalk and it's news, but you never see the good things in the newspapers. My wife and I have stayed up all night to be on television helping raise money for that drive. What's the name of it? All night.
All night, and I can't remember what it's called.
You spent 12 hours hearing about one thing, pounded in your head, and it's apparently super important to you to the point that you want to talk about it. And
what's it called?
What's the name of that shit? Little fucking twisted up pretzel kids. You know what the fuck I'm talking about, motherfucker?
No. Jerry's telephone?
He said, and somebody yells out, multiple sclerosis, and he said, yeah, that's it. Which is fucking hilarious.
They got several of the sclerosis, multiple.
Motherfucking multiple. Yo,
they got plural sclerosis.
They asked me if I do shit for single sclerosis. I said, yo, fuck them sclerosises, motherfuckers. But you get me a multiple? I'll help that little motherfucker out, man. That's cool. I got him.
You can handle one sclerosis.
He said, yeah, that's it. Multiple sclerosis. He said, but nobody hears about that.
Yeah.
That's all right. I don't want them to put it in the papers. Yeah, you do. You just did it yourself.
You just asked us.
You just said, why don't they do that? Then people would say that I'm using the kids to make a play for sympathy. I don't want no sympathy. All I ever wanted to be was Sonny Liston and to be treated like any other citizen who has rights.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't care if my heart is as hard as a rock. When you see these kids, it does something. Some of them can't walk. Some can't hear or talk. When you see these kids and the people who are helping them without getting paid anything at all, and then he shakes his head and he says, every man's got a tender spot somewhere, understand? For instance, I might not have a tender spot for you, but every man has a tender spot for something. I can remember once I was at home in Denver. I picked up this little boy, and right away he hugged me. He wouldn't let me go for nothing. I had to rock him to sleep and everything. All these homes are crowded, and some crippled kids can't even get in. They got a line down the steps of crippled kids, all the way down the sidewalk. Little fucking stilts and crutches and shit and wheelchairs. Some of them just laying on the sidewalk.
I got to rock them all to sleep.
Fuck, man, there's a line of those kids. I don't have time to fight anymore. That's my problem. He said these crippled kids can't even get in. I don't understand why the government doesn't do something. They send money overseas and all, give help where it's needed. That's what I say. I want to give my biggest... We need to have Sonny in on the national budget talk because he really, I'm sure, knows...
Give him an empty blanket.
I don't feel like he could fucking probably... I feel like his wife pays all the bills in his house.
Yeah.
I don't think Sonny knows how to pay things. He said, I want to give my biggest help to these kids. Maybe if I do this for them, there'll be a bigger place in heaven for me.
Okay.
All righty.
That was a lot.
And then he says, man, when you get ready to kick off, you're going to be scared. Okay? You better be able to show in heaven that you did something good on earth. But if you put that in the paper, people will say Sonny Liston is using the kids to get sympathy. I don't need sympathy from no one. You just went on for 4 fucking paragraphs about how you're tender and you're rocking crippled kids to sleep and shit, and now you're...
I don't want to use them for my benefit. I want you to use them for my benefit.
I'd like you to get down that I do wonderful things, even though I don't want you to tell anybody about it. But write all that down and just put all that out there if you could. And wow, that's amazing. May 26th or 22nd, 1966. Sonny Liston. Oh boy. He is in Vegas. He's drinking. Yeah. He's hanging out.
Yeah.
You know, he's doing all these wholesome things he was just talking about. You know,
in between the MS telethons.
What he does is he shakes the dice, he rolls them, and he rocks a crippled kid, then puts him down, and then if he wins, if he gets on a good run, he can rock like 3-4 crippled kids to sleep while he's on a crap run.
He's winning to buy swings, to swing them all to sleep.
He said, you know what? Remember I said the government doesn't do enough? Sonny Liston is going to win all the money and help all the crippled kids. That's right. Sonny Liston said, there's no dice. Yeah. He's in Vegas, but no dice, no drinking, no girls, no smoking, no swearing, only wholesome stuff.
Okay.
Only wholesome. He said, no more growling at newsmen, no more bitterness. No more any of this shit.
Yeah.
This is crazy. He said just clean living. And he also wants to kick Muhammad Ali's ass. Those two things.
I need to do that.
He'd like to do that, exactly. He leaves for Europe, and what he hopes will be a comeback. He's fighting the Germany's heavyweight champion, Gerhard Zeck, on June 30th. That's his first fight since the Ali fight. That wasn't an exhibition. He's billing himself the new Sonny Liston.
Oh, not bad.
Wow, the new Sonny. I don't know what that even means. The new and improved Sonny Liston.
Yeah.
Wow. Now with more crippled kids. That's what it says on the box in a little yellow circle.
Now with less sclerosis.
Yeah. Now with only one sclerosis. Sonny has got it down, these kids down to a single sclerosis. That's impressive, Sonny. He really has done something. Thank you. My hat's off to you. He says he'll go after America's fighters one by one until he reaches the top. How old are you?
Right. He doesn't know either.
We don't know. In your 30s, though, he said when he gets there in about a year, he says he hopes Clay is even still around. I hope Ali's even still here.
Yeah.
He says, well, what if you don't make it all the way to Ali again? And he says, quote, what if you die and don't go to heaven?
What?
Okay. Well, what if anything at that point?
What if carrots were red?
That's what I do. Who cares? That's what I'm saying.
What are you doing, man?
If my grandmother had balls, she'd be my grandfather. What are we talking about? What the fuck are we doing here? I don't get it. So he says, what if I die and don't go to heaven? He says, then I'm dead. That's all. But we don't talk about that. No, sir. We think only good thoughts. We're positive thinkers.
True.
Don't let this man get hit in the head anymore.
No.
Because I don't know what you're talking about.
It's already not good.
It's really bad. So he thinks about the losses, and he says that thinks about them as he relaxes in his new home near the. Now they're saying it's the 14th green, not the 15th stairway, 16th fairway. So
right.
I don't know which one it is, but
maybe moved down the way to the party hole.
He's like, you know what? I don't like being on the fairway.
Yeah.
I want to watch putts go in. That's more fun for me.
Yeah.
He said, my wife wanted me to come here. She likes the shows, and you know how it is. Where the wife goes, you got to go too.
True.
There you go. He just said that's 60s angry, happy wife, happy life is what he just said. You know, she bitches, it's going to be miserable. And they were like, you want to rephrase that? And he goes, you know how it is. Where she goes, you got to go too. Is that, we can print that?
Is that
okay.
cleaner?
That cleaner? He says he blames the whole debacle on the Clay debacle with Ali, that whole fight and the mess, on his former manager, and the second part on the bad refereeing.
Oh.
So he says it's all wholesomeness now and training, and he said he drinks milk.
Ew.
Imagine Sonny Liston drinking milk.
That's got to be a lot of milk, right?
He'd be like, could you put some bourbon in it? That's going to be a weird milk, right? All I drink is eggnog now.
He already has a mustache. That would look pretty good, maybe, covered in white.
That would be cool. He could do a commercial.
Yeah.
Liston drinks milk. He eats raw honey, swims a lot, hunts rabbits and quails. As we know, Vegas is famous for its quail hunting.
Yeah.
Although in the desert they do have quail, so I guess you could. And though he says that his trainer says he's a real health food nut now.
Is that right?
Oh, he's just
honey and quail.
Clean body, clean mind, he's saying. It's all good. His trainer says he gets all this stuff at the health store. What else can he be?
I don't know.
Okay. By the way, his trainer also works at, he is the security guard at a casino that Liston hangs out at. That's how they met.
Uh-huh.
So this is the good decisions he's making. He's hanging out in a casino gambling. He meets the security guard and says, "You should train me."
I'm scouting for my.
Wow.
I'm not gambling.
That is.
I'm building my team back up.
Wild. Oh, by the way, his other best friend there, Samuel Sams.
Stop it.
Samuel Sams, who's a blackjack dealer.
Is that right?
So, yeah, this is his new management team and his new a blackjack dealer and a security guard. Holy shit. And Sams, he just says that he's Liston's advisor. I'm his advisor. I tell him to hit on fucking 17, but outside of that, I'm not taking his advice on anything boxing related. Are you? When should I stop hitting would be my question to ask him.
If the dealer's got 10, we stay on 16? Is that what happens?
Yeah. What's your rule here? When do you have to stop hitting?
Right.
So this guy says he will accompany Liston and his wife Geraldine to Europe, but he denies any formal managerial contract between them. And now his trainer, there, the security guard, the blackjack dealer is going to come for the ride, but the trainer's going to stay behind in Vegas.
Yeah.
He says he's helping Liston without pay.
Oh, pro bono.
Pro bono. He said, quote, we're his friends and great fans. He just found these hangers-on who want to hang out with him because he's famous, and he's letting them do professional things for him. That's crazy.
Met them at the casino in Vegas.
Well, yeah. Well, he's probably at 3 a.m. What do you think that these offers came at 3 a.m?
It's just the two of them sitting somewhere.
Yeah, just hanging out, just losing money in blackjack. Liston, they're saying he runs 4 miles a day, bikes a lot, and they said whenever he bicycles, most of the neighborhood kids run behind him.
Is that right?
Via Rocky, or Ella Rocky.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, that's a cool thing. Hey, get the fuck away from me, you little bastards. I'm going to the brothel. Leave me the fuck alone. This is how I exercise. I get that.
I'm riding to the cat house.
Yeah,
y'all may want to stop in a little bit.
Or who's got fake ID? Keep running. So he said all of this is going to make him a better fighter, a better boxer, not just a fighter. Okay. He's doing all this. He says he exercises his shoulders swinging an axe and dances to a record for cardio as well, to be light on his feet.
Yeah.
Because that's what Ali does.
In the 60s?
Yeah, he's dancing. If you want to be happy for the rest of your life, never make a pretty woman your wife. He's grooving to that. I could see him grooving to that. That's his song, and his wife's
ugly
like,
woman
propaganda.
Yeah. Ugly women propaganda.
Yeah. So the trainer here / security guard, he says Liston has new speed, agility, and a left hand out of nowhere. Now that's nasty. He said he's got no bad habits. He's in good company, and he'll regain the title.
Good company.
He's good now.
As it gets.
I think he's ready to, you know what? I think he's ready to take it all home and climb back to the top. I don't even know why we need to do the rest of this episode.
Liston,
he won the belt, lived happily ever after. Then he was president, and he's been a rock star for the last 30 years. End of story.
Prime Minister.
Oh, and there is no more multiple sclerosis. He wiped it off the face of the earth. MS is gone.
Nobody even has single.
Nope, it's gone. No sclerosi anywhere. So he makes his comeback in 66 here, and this is when he's in Sweden. He fights Gerhard Zeck, like we said, who's 32-5 coming into the fight. So not bad. Liston beats him, knocks him out in the 7th round.
Wow.
12,000 people here saw this.
More people saw that than Ali.
By far. Yeah, it was in Stockholm, so it was an interesting thing here. Yeah. He beat him with a short left-right combination. They said the German's face and shoulders were covered in blood from a cut over his right eye. He got up, reeling at the count of 10, but the ref waved it off. I was like, you're a mess. Look,
you're
at
a fountain, sir.
Jesus Christ, this is bad shit.
Your forehead's the Bellagio.
To the bunker with you.
Yeah.
So August 19th, 66, he fights Amos Johnson, whose his nickname is, for some reason, not only his nickname, he's got Adam Amos, like Adam, like an atom bomb.
ATOM.
ATOM Amos Robinson, which is not. So it's either Johnson or Robinson. We're pretty sure Amos is in his name somewhere.
Okay.
He's 22-4 coming into this fight, and this fight goes 3 rounds, and Sonny knocks him out as well.
Oh.
And so there we go. He's back on track. He's 37-3. March 30th, 1967, he fights Dave Bailey, who's 15-16 coming into this fight. So that's not exactly a contender. Knocks him out in the first round, though, as he should.
Yeah.
So he's beating guys as he should beat them, but these aren't top contenders.
No.
I don't know Dave Bailey, who he fights in Gothenburg. I don't even know where that is.
I don't either.
I don't know what fucking flag that is, Jimmy.
Is it a flag?
That's a flag there. It's like green. I don't even know what that is. One of those northern countries.
With a yellow cross on it?
To the left, it looks like Swedish or not Swedish. I don't even know, man.
It looks Finnish.
Hey, we don't know those countries.
Yeah.
You people eat like pickled fish a lot. That's all we know. Outside of that, and you like hot tubs. I don't know anything else about you.
You're koozie.
No clue. But during this, under a story about his fight on March 31st, 1967, there's an advertisement that just says, I want you to look at this. Okay. Come here. Attention all boys.
All right. You've got my attention.
Who will be 8 years old by July 31st, 1967, but not 17 years old by July 31st, 1967? I have a very specific taste, and it's for 8 to 17. And then it just says, guess what's coming, and then there's 6 exclamation points.
Are those...
I'm sorry, 6 question marks.
Question mark, yeah.
6 questions. Guess what's coming.
Do each of those represent a letter and it spells out somebody's name?
I don't know. This reminds me of the Simpsons thing with the Gabbo and all that shit, but it also
Is this a zodiac letter?
I don't know. Yeah. Who? Just for young boy. I'd keep my kid away from this, whatever the fuck this is.
Will you be at least 8?
We never found out what it was. I don't know what it is. That's the other thing. I couldn't figure it out. So we don't know. Who knows what it is? Guess what's coming? Hopefully, all the boys from 8 to 17 in the this area and survived this. I'm not sure.
Probably not.
Oof. April 28th, 1967, he fights Elmer Rush, 15-3-2 coming into this fight here. This is in Stockholm again, so Sweden. That's what that flag must be. Okay. This fight goes 6 rounds. Rush is knocked down twice in the 4th, 3 times in the 5th, and 4 times in the 6th.
Wow.
Before the referee finally says, this is silly.
Is that 7 knockdowns?
That is 2, 3, 5, 9 knockdowns. That was 9 knockdowns in 6 rounds. The ref said, okay.
Dude, why'd you show up?
That's enough, Elmer. We're going to fucking...
9 knockdowns?
Wow. And then he went and made quality glue for the next 50 years. He was tired of this
Or
shit.
they turned him into glue.
Either one. He's to take him to the factory. May 10th, 1967. Here, this is a newspaper article, and it says, Tourney snub irks Big Bear Liston. Ex-champ ignored as clay contender. It says, Liston said Tuesday he felt he was snubbed when plans were announced for an 8-man elimination tournament to fill the world championship belt that was stripped from Clay after Clay wouldn't go to the war. They stripped him of his title.
Threw him in jail.
And he said, quote, none of them want to fight me. Talking about those guys. That's what he said. And he says, this is bullshit. I beat all these motherfuckers. They're all scared of me.
It makes sense that they would put him in at least the tournament.
I guess he hasn't
was
lost
the
since
champ
Ali.
at some point.
Yeah, and he hasn't lost since then.
Yeah.
He says that he just won all these fights. He's been beating people up, and he said that all 8 of the tournament nominees refused, quote, good offers to fight me in Europe or anywhere else.
Huh.
So he said he had to settle for Elmer Rush to fulfill my contract to the promotion group headed by Ingmar Johansson, who's an old fighter there. So he said that he's knocking all these people out. He knocked this guy down 9 times. What the fuck? He said, let them go ahead and fight it out for the right to meet me for the title. He said, I'm going to wind up as a big drawing card anyway. So he said, I'll just take winner of who gets all that, who wins this tournament here. So he said that he's been licensed by the Nevada Athletic Commission, but not been ranked since his layoff in the States from fighting Ali. Now, so you could... Let's say you could train for this tournament. Yeah. You could maybe watch this tournament. Or let's say you don't want to do that. You could head on down to the drive-in theater here.
In what year?
July 13th, 1967. If you happen to be in Sacramento, California here, you need to head over to the 49er drive-in.
What
is where you need
playing?
To go. Well, adult entertainment.
Oh, what?
It says there. Yeah, you could
they
do that.
already got porn?
This is cool. This isn't porn. This is the weird world of LSD.
Oh.
This is an acid movie that they're playing at the drive-in in 1967.
Oh, wow.
That's fucking cool.
They were already embracing it.
July 13th. That's Summer of Love. Middle of the Summer of Love there. So, I mean, the weird world of LSD. LSD on the campus. And it said recommended for the parents of teenagers.
What?
Okay. That's what they're saying. You should see this so you know LSD shit, but it's really for kids to go and take acid and go watch this trippy shit, right? Because I'm sure it's not like a medical documentary on the ill effects of acid. It's probably like kids going, whoa, man, and then there's like a color wheel going on.
Something swirls.
And also, while you're there, left your teenagers at home to go do this very parental scientific work, you can check out the co-feature, which comes on afterwards. You pay for both, which is The Mating Urge.
What?
Yeah. So you can watch this acid movie and then watch people fuck afterwards. That's what's going on.
The
here.
Mating Urge.
The Mating Urge.
Fascinating.
It's a terrible name for a porn.
Gross.
Sounds like they're
sounds
animals.
Like it sounds like it's narrated by somebody from Investigation Discovery or National Geographic.
I was going to say more National Geographic, and then I guess it would turn into Investigation Discovery because it's pretty rapey. So August 13th, 1967, he wants to fight in the U.S. again. He's eager to fight.
Yeah.
He says he's living quietly in Vegas, and he's tired of being quiet, honestly. He in the here's I'll give this. This is a New York Times article, and it says, quote, in the driveway were 2 Cadillac Eldorados, a baby blue and a pale pink. Inside the pastel green ranch home, the immaculate living room was furnished in lavender Italian provincial. Through the sliding glass doors, aqua blue water in the 25 by 15-foot swimming pool shimmered in the dazzling desert sun. He's describing Ace Rothstein's house, right?
He really is.
Beyond the Stardust Golf Course was empty. Beyond that, the Stardust Golf Course was empty, baking in the 103-degree heat. He says, that's where I do my road work, every other morning, early before the sun gets up. And they say, do you play golf there? And he says, no. I think he's going to do that. He said, Joe Louis lost too much. No, he said, yeah, Joe Louis sucks at it, so I don't do it. Okay. That's weird. He said that he's said to lost thousands of dollars gambling on golf. That's Joe Louis does. Yeah. So it's competition. They said, though, he's been careful with his money lately, though, Liston. And it says his sumptuous home is evidence. So is his disregard for the gambling casinos on the Strip.
Oh, he hates them.
How do you meet those two guys then?
Right. What about your pals?
Come on. He said, sometimes I play a little blackjack at Caesar's Palace, but not much.
Okay.
That is the hugest understatement ever. He said that his earnings from 4 championship fights, 2 with Clay and 2 with Floyd Patterson, totaled more than $2.7 million, which back then is $20 million. Yeah, which isn't bad. But he said he had to share that with his managers, trainers, the IRS. Yeah. He said he still has money coming, a total of about $150,000 still from the Clay bouts that he's owed. He says, everybody's always hollering. I'm sorry, this is Geraldine. She says, everybody's always hollering about the elements behind Charles. She calls him Charles.
She does.
Oh, my God. But if that were true, he wouldn't have money, and he's got enough to live. The trouble is, you got to have some coming in, too, and we don't. So she's saying he's not making any money now.
We got to make this last.
Yeah, exactly. So they said that he hasn't had a fight in the United States where he needs to, make the big money.
Right.
And it says when the World Boxing Association has its convention in Reno in 2 weeks, this is Sonny, I'm going to try to get up there and try to get them to okay me. The reason they suspended me was because I had a return bout with Clay, but that wasn't in the contract I signed. That was in the other contract the managers, the hot dog salesman, had with Clay's people in Louisville. Hot dog salesman. Okay. So that's what they're talking about here. That's what he wants. He's pissed off. Liston sought a license in California, but his application was denied. He said, they checked me out in New York. What the fuck? And they said his career, he had 19 arrests and a 2-year term in prison at this point.
Okay.
So he said, quote, I got turned down in New York in 1962 because they said I was connected to Blinky Palmero, who we've talked about as the mobster there, or Palermo, but that was 5 years ago. All them guys are in jail. Palermo's in for 15 years. Frankie Carbo for 25 to 30. They can see I'm not connected with those guys now, and I was never connected with them. I know people think I'm old, but I'm 35.
No, you aren't.
Quote, I got a birth certificate when my mother had me, so I guess she should know. No, you don't. That's a complete fucking lie.
We know that for a fact.
I'm 35. I got a birth certificate. If you have to say, if I ask you how old you are, you don't go, I got a birth certificate and everything, do you?
Never.
Because you know how old you are.
Yeah.
That's why. Exactly. That's the point. If someone says, I got a birth certificate and everything, that's not how old they are, no matter what.
And this is 1969?
67?
Now he's saying he was born in 34.
Yeah. Now he's added. That's
32.
32, yeah. If he's 35, he'd be 32. But they
That's
said he's
still pushing.
He said it's probably more like 30, and his mom said maybe 28.
Right.
So this is weird.
It's anywhere between 28 and 33.
Now, he has used a birth certificate, but we'll talk about where he got that from because it's hilarious. Okay, so he said his weight is about 225. He's got a flat stomach. He's doing well. Wow. He's ready to go.
Shape.
Ready to go. He wants to be in consideration to fight Clay again. He said that he acknowledged that he played Clay, quote, played him cheap the first time when Clay became champion. And he said when he sat on his stool there, he said the second bout, he said, quote, it wasn't that hard a punch, but it partially caught me off balance. And then he's talking about getting mixed up again. So now he's saying he definitely did get knocked out. He said, I was listening for a count, but never heard it. So he said outside here of his house while they're talking to him, quote, outside on a child's swing, a 3-year-old boy, Daniel Weef, went back and forth. And he said, we've had him here since May, Liston said. Now they said childless in 15 years of marriage, but he's got a...
Is he fostering?
He must, because he's got a kid.
Right.
We're talking about his kid. So he said
and he's been here since when?
This other kid's he's outside swinging since May, apparently, on a swing set. I don't know.
Kid's been on that swing for 4 months.
Long time. He said, quote, his mother's a waitress where we were staying in Sweden, and we got to talking to her, and she told us she had a boy in some place like an orphan home, and we asked her if we could bring him back. We have a visa for him.
They're smuggling children.
They took a Swedish waitress's son because he was in an orphanage. They're like, well, we'll take him. And she's like, sure, here you go.
We'll plant his ass on a swing.
And then these two brought back a little Swedish boy. What the fuck is going on?
Unbelievable.
On a previous trip, the Listons returned with an Irish youth, Peter Keenan, who lived with them for several months.
Why is he bringing children?
Why is he bringing European children here to live for a few months? It's so fucking weird. Then he says, nobody ever mentions the good things that I do. Like, take European children here. He said he points to some photos that show him at the hospital for cerebral palsy children. He said, and I got a certificate from the Leukemia Society, too. Says I got leukemia. Now, who the fuck would... but all they ever write about is when I get a speeding ticket. They always give me the ticket business.
Okay.
The ticket business. He looked across the street at his neighbor's lawn and then shook his head and he said, hey, Geraldine, that man across the street ain't cut his grass. He ain't letting the neighborhood, or he's letting the neighborhood run down.
What is it? He's on the HOA now, too?
Yeah, look at this. Geraldine. I'm going to go cut his lawn quick.
This motherfucker's got weeds.
Yep. He says they don't think, they'll think I was going to fuck it up because everybody, I'm the only non-white guy in this neighborhood. They think my lawn was going to be shitty. Look at his lawn, he said.
And I'm even more outnumbering myself by bringing more white children.
I'm stacking the odds against me here. So November 13th, 1967, he needs a new boxing manager.
Really?
So we need a new boxing manager. Who do you go to? Experience
H&R Block.
He needs like someone with experience,
Yeah.
someone that can help craft his career, get him on the right track.
Is there an Olive Garden nearby?
Sammy Davis Jr. is going to be his manager because why not?
The Rat Pack guy?
Sammy Davis, one and the same. Sammy Davis Jr.
The little ugly man that dances nice and sings well.
Was he ugly?
He's pretty ugly, right?
No. When he was,
Sammy Davis
when he was
Jr.?
older, his eye was all funky and shit because
Maybe
he got a glass eye.
maybe that's
but
what I
When
said.
he was younger. He was,
Yeah.
he was a handsome cat. Everybody liked him.
He had a
Shit.
glass eye?
Yeah, he was married to that super tall fucking like Swedish supermodel and shit. Like,
Why did he have a glass eye?
Because he had one fucking eye.
Right, but
he
what
just thought it
happened?
looked cool, Jimmy. He popped it out and he was like,
What
I
happened?
think it's better for my career, baby. I think it's going to be good. Frank likes one eye. I don't know what to tell you. So Sammy Davis Jr., I don't know what happened to Sammy Davis, honestly. I don't know what accident, I assume.
I don't know.
Who knows? He will sign a contract to manage Sonny Liston.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Liston's business manager said in New York that the announcement was a result of 2 months of negotiating here. Contract will be signed in Las Vegas, where Davis will be appearing at a hotel to do a show. And this is, mid Rat Pack days. This is
pretty. What's happening?
This is the end of the Rat Pack days, but swinging. Yeah. He's still a huge star right now, giant star. So November 22nd, 1967 here is another article about Liston. And they start out with Vegas is known as the city with no clocks.
Yeah.
but time means a lot to Charles Sonny Liston, the one-time king of the heavyweights, who now makes his home in Las Vegas. And they go on to discuss all of that and him and Ali. I love when they talk about his fucking... I just love when they talk about all of his, what he's doing now and try to do a fluff piece on him. And they do. He still trains, getting in 5 miles of road work on one of the city's finest golf courses every morning. He weighs just 5 pounds more than he did for the second fight with Clay and appears to be in peak condition. But it doesn't do a fighter to be any good to be in shape if he's unable to get any fights. Now, here's the next paragraph. Age is a problem. Yes. Ring records list his age at 40, but most observers believe he's closer to 43.
Oh, boy.
This is old for a fighter, even Archie Moore, but he still ranks as one of the best. Liston, who's only licensed in Nevada and Massachusetts, is not bitter about his plight, but in his almost childlike way admits bewilderment. He says, quote, "If I'm mixed up with the underworld, it's pretty obvious they're not making any money off me, and isn't money the reason the underworld is interested in anything?" Okay,
point.
That's fine. By the way, his house was $100,000 that he got, which was a lot back then. So, yeah, he says that occasionally he goes to the hotels, but I mean, come on, that's,
not the casino, the hotel.
You got to have dinner.
It's a nice place.
It's where all the restaurants are. What do you want from me? So he said he's not hurting. He has his home. He has 2 $8,000 automobiles, which was a shitload back then.
Yeah.
He said he also, he's got a good bank account. He's still got $150,000 coming in from the Clay fight. He's doing just fine. And now it's just signed with Sammy Davis Jr., so that's going to be great. For me, it's perfect. And maybe Sammy Davis helped him get this, but he ends up getting a role in a film called Head, which it's a Monkees movie. The Monkees. Quote, the Monkees are tossed about in a psychedelic, surrealist, plotless, circular bit of fun fluff. That's an IMDb review from it. So,
were they a psychedelic group? Was that?
No, everything was psychedelic in the 60s, though. There's always those colors behind them. You had to be. Yeah, everybody did. Plus, they were the knockoff Beatles. Yeah, there's knockoff. They were the actors who were the Beatles.
Even more hideous Beatles.
Well, they just made a show and cast 4 actors or 5 actors and said, you're like the Beatles.
Jesus.
And then they made 2 albums and said, we want to do our own music. And they were like, you're fucking actors. Before that, they didn't play anything, sing anything, write anything.
Yeah.
And then they were like, no, we want to write songs. We're a band now. They were like, are you out of your...
They're going to make cartoons about us. Watch.
This is crazy.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up. But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus.
So March 16th, 1968, he fights Bill McMurray, whose alias is Fred.
What?
I don't know. Fred. Bill, I go by Fred, who cares?
Billy Fred.
So this is a TKO in the 4th round. This is in Reno. Sonny knocks him out. He's 40-3 now, Sonny. May 23rd, 68. So he wants to get back to this. He fights Billy Joyner, who's 9-3 coming into this fight, and Joyner goes down in the 3rd, and then he doesn't come out for the 7th round.
Billy Joyner.
Billy Joyner.
Nickname Mike?
I think it's Frank, actually.
Okay.
It's Frank. It's Frank. July 3rd, 1968.
Yeah.
This is fucking amazing here. He's talking about, the title of this article from the Pittsburgh Press is No Rocking Chair Yet.
Okay.
And it's got a picture of Sonny.
Yeah.
And it says, kindly old Sonny Liston has a fight coming up on national television Saturday. Kindly old. The prayers of the nation will be with him. His opponent, Henry Clark, is young and strong, and concern has arisen over Sonny Boy's safety. A sparring partner knocked him down in the gym the other day, by some accounts, knocked him out cold. Liston is at the age where he should be looking for sedentary work. Even if he's 43, sedentary? Jesus Christ, man. Wow. He should be looking for sedentary work, and he does not and he does get business offers from time to time, but as Geraldine, his wife, says, they always want you to put up money. Obviously. To be in business, really? That's weird.
To invest in a company?
Strange.
You can't just say,
I'm Sonny.
I'm invested.
I'm Charles. So, he says that not much of it, he doesn't have a lot of the money that he, still has here. Liston said, quote, about the Ali fights, he says, we went 50-50. What's wrong with that? And he said this was with his manager. He gave his manager 50% of his money that he made on something. So his manager said he's a generous man. There's nothing cheap about him. The next little paragraph is, quote, a model citizen. Content in the knowledge that he did what was right by Sam Margulies and others, Liston now lives in a $50,000 pastel. It was $100,000 in the last article. Pastel green split-level house on the edge of a golf course in Vegas with 2 Cadillacs, a swimming pool next to the patio, a backyard full of playground equipment for the neighborhood kids and whoever he imports from Europe that day.
And the economy has shit the bed because it has lost half its value in 2 years.
Terrible. Liston said, it's really nice here for us, I got to say that. He says, at the hotels, I never have to pay for nothing. They always pick up the tab. That means you either gamble there a lot or I guess they want you because you're famous.
You're bringing people.
One of the town's civic leaders said, we're lucky to have him. Okay. Lucky to have him. And it says the public reaction to him has changed hugely since he was champions. He said his habit of getting arrested every so often seemed to upset people then. Only Billy Conn, the former light heavyweight champion, spoke up in Liston's defense. He's not a bad guy. He just likes to do bad things, which is one of the greatest quotes of all time. He's not a bad guy.
Yeah.
He just likes to do bad things.
Which is...
Wow.
Generally make you a bad guy.
You are what you eat, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, holy shit. That is fucking amazing. They go on to say, Sonny Boy's normal expression was either blank or malevolent. This and his sheer physical magnitude kept the whole world at bay. With interviewers, Liston was hostile. It took sort of a bravery to cover his training camp. But after knocking out Floyd Patterson for the title, Liston campaigned to be likable. In his dressing room, he received the press cordially, muttering platitudes with his own flavor. Quote, now I'm the champ. The people own me in a way because I'm their champ. And shit like that. Now, the next article, or the next paragraph, with malice toward none.
Okay.
He's ready to go. At a press conference, Norman Mailer wrote here, Norman Mailer's a writer who wrote kind of first-person, kind of like Hunter Thompson-esque type shit, except obviously not like Gonzo style, but Mailer was one of the guys that Thompson always like looked at as the style at first, and then he hated him because he was kind of an old hack after a while.
All right.
So Norman Mailer apparently badgered Liston with irrational questions. Mailer was, there, and they said, Liston didn't kill him or anything, so that's a good sign. Mm-hmm. Sports writers, suddenly protective toward Liston, shouted Mailer down, or tried to, and Liston said, no, let the bum talk.
The bum.
The bum. So Mailer yelled, don't call me a bum. And Liston said, you're a bum and I'm a bum. I'm a bigger bum than you are because I'm bigger than you. And then he said, bum. That's great. Then he asked him to shake hands, and Mailer shook hands with him. Mm-hmm. And they said, quote, he was less irrational than he sounded. Liston's transfiguration took time. In 1962, the country was not quite ready for a smiling, jolly, sociable Liston. The police were not ready either. His wife said they just kept so much heat on him. It was impossible to live a normal life, especially when you fight them every time you see them.
Is this Liston's attempt to have like the Ali Cavett relationship?
Cosell, you mean?
No, Cavett.
Ali Cosell was the big thing.
And Ali and
Cavett. He'd go on Cavett too, but
yeah,
that's not the famous. The famous one was Cosell was defending Ali for years and years and years.
Right.
And Cosell made it a mission to make Muhammad Ali. People call him Muhammad Ali, and he represented him and said it was went on Cavett too, but that wasn't even close. Cosell did it every day. That was his.
Oh, that was his thing.
Yeah, it was his thing because he called boxing.
Got it.
Dick Cavett just did an interview show.
Right. But when he would have him on, it was like a big deal.
Oh yeah. Anytime he was on anything, it was a big deal. He was on Johnny Carson, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
But
Dick
he was
Cavett
a showman.
Genuinely loved that man.
Yeah, a lot of people did.
Yeah.
So Dick Cavett was a great interviewer too.
Oh, is he?
I've seen.
Did you see the documentary of him?
Yeah. There's some, I can't remember. I downloaded a bunch. They had like some like early 70s Cabot shows that I looked at. Some cool people that were on there. And they're always cool as shit, those interviews.
Still alive.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I don't know how. I'm sure he doesn't know where he is. But
he doesn't know.
He's alive, though.
Yeah, he's tweeting, and it's weird.
It's very strange. So Liston, they say, owes much of his current popularity to Cassius Clay. It's Ali at this point, guys. They said that the big bear could lose to loudmouthed whippersnapper was incredible. It humanized Sonny Boy. Then when Clay turned out to be Muhammad Ali, a black Muslim, white America even pardoned Liston for quitting on his stool in the first fight and getting up too late in the second one. They were like, well, at least he's not that.
Okay.
So they said briefly, no boxing commission would let him follow his trade on the side of the Atlantic. He went to Sweden and quietly making ends meet at no great personal danger. Now he's welcome in Nevada and California. If he survives Henry Clark and keeps going, he'll be the grand old man of the fight game. July 6th, 1968, fights Henry Clark, who's 15-3-2. Not exactly taking the world by storm here.
Let's just start.
Yeah, this is his first fight in America since the Ali rematch. Okay. So this is a big fucking deal here. He's fighting 5th-ranked Henry Clark. It's nationally broadcast on TV in July of 68. Wow. And this fight goes 7 rounds, and it's called a TKO for Liston.
How about that?
So he beats him here. He said that he wants to fight Joe Frazier.
Oh.
Now, who's an up-and-comer and a bad motherfucker at this point. And he says, Liston says, quote, it'd be like shooting fish in a barrel.
Easy.
I don't think so.
Walk in the park with
Frazier?
Frazier?
Walk in the park with young Joe Frazier. So next up, October 14th, 68. Now he's stacking them as we talk here. He fights Sonny Moore, alias SD Policeman.
San Diego?
He's from Tyler, Texas, Jimmy.
South Dakota?
He's a boxer
from
Texas, so he's the SD Policeman.
Yeah.
And his initials are an SD.
No.
So I am confused. Let's just say that.
San Dallas? What is that?
Very, very, very confused of what's going on. I don't know what the fuck that is. Jesus
San
Christ.
Antonio and Dallas area?
San Antonio, Dallas area policeman. I have no clue. He's 20 and 30, this guy, so not that great, Sonny Moore. This is in Phoenix at the Veterans Memorial Coliseum.
Right?
Absolutely. At that shithole. So, did they knock that down finally?
No.
It's still standing there?
James, it's where the county fair is held. It will never go away.
Knock it to the ground.
Never.
Salt the earth behind it, and stop letting people have a fucking county fair there.
They will never. There are deaths there every year.
The Maricopa County Fair is the hell on
gross.
earth. It's hell. It is a fucking... It's like 5 blocks of blacktop.
Yeah.
They wait till it's 105 out to have it, and then every year 50 people get shot there. Every fucking single year. That's all it is. It's just meth and gangs and fucking... It's the worst place ever. But you can get terrible food that'll kill you.
but Rick Rolled, what's his name? Rick Astley will play it this year.
White trash loves it there, though.
They really do.
White trash and hardcore Mexican gang members. The Venn diagram where they meet is the Maricopa County Fair. Hardcore white trash,
and they go ride rides that all the handles on them just have 17 layers of duct tape.
Duct tape and gang signs written on them, too. It's perfect.
It's pretty awesome.
What is this, a meth pipe I'm sitting on? This is great. So who's he fighting now? Oh, November 3rd, 1968. He beat Sonny Moore in 3 rounds anyway. So there you go. Knocks him out in 3 rounds. November 3rd, so 3 weeks later, he's fighting Willie Earls, who's 4-6-1.
That was in October in Phoenix?
That was in October in Phoenix.
Do you think that was at the county fair, at it?
Beats me.
It may have been.
Did they even have a county fair back then?
They've had it.
I thought they had it in the spring.
No, it's in fucking fall every year.
Well, yeah, it's still hot then though. That's why I never think because it's so hot when they have it.
Yeah, it's fucking fall.
So maybe they had it at the fair. I'm not sure.
I wonder if they did.
Who knows if that's where they had the fair back then?
It's never not
been there.
Never not been.
Well, I don't know.
It's the fairgrounds. It's always been the fairgrounds.
It's a concrete. It's fucking asphalt.
Of course, it's
not fairgrounds.
Of course, it's the fairgrounds.
There's no fairgrounds.
Nothing makes sense.
Nothing.
It's the fairgrounds.
Oh, I hate this fucking city. Like fucking poison. I hate it so much.
Nothing makes sense.
Nothing makes sense here.
That had to have been what was happening then.
Maybe. Who knows? It's a draw, I guess.
Buy a ticket to the fair, watch Sonny Liston.
Sonny on Sonny violence. Let's get it on. Fuck it. So, 2 weeks later, he's fighting November 3rd against Willie Earls here, and this is in Juarez. He's going to go take his
Why is
chances
he
down there.
fighting in Phoenix and Juarez?
Don't know. He's just trying to...
Wow.
Weird. He knocks this guy out in the second round, Willie Earls. Next up, November 12th, 9 days later.
El Paso.
He's a little old to fight, I think, every other day.
It's over.
Pittsburgh he's fighting now. Civic Arena in Pittsburgh. And this is a main event on a benefit card for a guy named Ben Onalik, who's Pennsylvania's first heart transplant recipient patient.
Is that right?
Yes, they do a little thing for him. Benefit fight. Yeah, Roger Risher he fights, who's 29-11 coming in. Knocks him out in the third round, though. So he is 45-3 at this point. December 6th, 68. He's got to start thinking about his age at some point, and he is now. The title of this article from the Baltimore Sun is Liston no longer seeks notoriety's bright lights.
Really?
He's fighting, and why else would you be boxing? It says that anytime Sonny Liston is assaulted by more than a handful of reporters, someone is sure to ask him his, quote, true age. Heavyweight Amos Lincoln will battle Liston at the Civic Center Tuesday night, contends that Sonny Boy is at least in his early 40s. The more cynical place his age somewhere between Satchel Paige and Methuselah. Satchel Paige was like 58 at that point, and obviously Methuselah. So there you go. Tomorrow at 1 p.m. at the Civic Center, both Liston and Lincoln will undergo a pre-fight physical by the Maryland State Athletic Commission doctors. Liston says, quote, I'm only 36. Come on, Sonny.
That's the bummer about your birthday being unknown. In your youth, nobody gives a shit.
No, later on.
Eventually, it starts to hurt.
Yeah. He says that anyone who says otherwise is calling my mother a liar.
Oh, you don't want to do that.
We have quotes from his mother where she gives 5 different birthdays.
Right.
So we're saying your mom isn't very bright. We're not saying she's a liar. We're calling your mom stupid. There's a big difference.
Your mom said it was cold out and then said it could have been June.
So, yeah, we're calling her dumb, not a liar. There's a difference. Yeah. We don't think, and we're also pretty kind of a bad mother because she doesn't even know when her fucking kids were born. So at least she didn't have 25 kids like the father.
Well, she had 12.
12's a lot.
That's a lot.
They said discussing his ill-starred past is becoming more tedious for the former champ, who held the heavyweight crown for 18 months. He says that I got turned down in New York when I sought a boxing license. And he talks about Blinky Palermo again and all that kind of shit. He says, when they he said I was never connected with them. He says when they try you for murder, they got to produce a body. Well, not really. We know that, but
no body, no crime.
No body, no crime. He said, but nobody can produce anybody who is managing me except me. Okay. He says boxing's the only way I know how to make a living. And I think I've got about 2 more good years of fighting left in me. I just don't want to get hurt or punchy like a lot of fighters I know. He said, fighters are just like cars. You get in a car and you put your foot down on the pedal to the floorboard, and that car's not going to last long. If the car has just one owner and that owner takes it easy, the car's going to last a long time.
Yeah.
He says, although he lives in Vegas, he says, it's still, he's hanging, he's laying low. Yeah. He says, I'll try something else like being a doctor or a lawyer.
What?
That's what he says when it's all done. A doctor can kill you and still get paid, and a lawyer can let you waste away in jail for half your life and gets paid too. There's no way these guys can lose. Well, that's because you got to go to school for 15 years first, which I don't think you're willing to do that.
I don't think if you kill somebody as a doctor, you get paid.
I think you still have insurance. You still bill them, I think.
But if you kill somebody, you get sued for malpractice.
Yeah, probably, maybe. But also, you probably still get billed, though. I guarantee you, if a doctor kills you, a bill's still going to come in the mail later on.
Probably.
You might sue them to not pay it, but they're going to bill you.
That bill's going to be in the paperwork of being sued.
And the lawyer goes, I want $100,000 up front.
Yeah.
Just in case you get put in jail and can't pay me more. So fuck you, double there. So maybe he's got a point. Living in Vegas, Liston has managed to avoid the continuous police harassment he says he experienced in Philadelphia and Denver, and where there's shit in there every day in the paper. Yeah. He said, we haven't had any trouble in Vegas. We? Geraldine never got in trouble. Just you.
She get in trouble anywhere.
Don't lump her in with you. He said, anyone who burns a cross on my lawn, he won't burn anything ever again if I catch him. But I don't bother nobody and they don't bother me. So he says, other than that, he's not going to bother anybody unless the Klan comes and burns a cross on his lawn, and then he's going to come out swinging.
An insane hate crime on my front yard.
I will come out swinging at that point. But in the 60s, that was common.
Yeah.
So he says that he generally shuns the bright lights of Vegas, of the Vegas Strip, except for, once again, an occasional hand of blackjack, ever so rare.
When I'm hiring.
Just when I'm looking for a manager or a trainer. He said, that's where I look, in the dealer staff. He said, hiding his emotions carefully, he spends his time quietly preparing himself for another title shot. He said, I figure maybe about 10 more fights. Then I'll be ready for the championship again. He just said 2 years he's got left, so now he's going to fight 10 more and a title fight?
In 2 years.
In 2 years. He said, fighting is like a job. No, it is a job. It's exactly what it is.
It pays your bills. That's your job.
Something you do for money and they pay you. Fighting is like a job. That's why I don't mind training. I know I've got to do it. Good for you, Sonny. Yeah. So December 10th, 1968, he fights Amos Big Train Lincoln.
Yeah.
So he's 42-12, Amos here. This is at the Civic Center in Baltimore, and he knocks Amos out in 2 rounds again.
Is that right?
So, I mean, Jesus Christ, it's
over.
He's
he can't fight this.
Well, he is. He's winning.
No, I mean Amos.
Amos can't fight
this
it. No,
isn't your job.
Can't fend this off. No, he's the Big Train is not doing. He was. What was Amos coming in? 42-12.
Oh.
Not a terrible fighter.
Is that right?
Might have been older though. Which
second
so
round,
Sonny.
though?
Yeah. February 20th, 1969. I think he's been good now for a long time, but
he only needs 9 more fights.
Sonny Liston arrested in North Vegas.
Oh, damn it.
You think that was going to be the end of the crime? Come on now. He's arrested and booked under the charges of driving under the influence of liquor. Again.
Is that right?
Yep. He's released after 6 hours, and it's just a bad thing because he was driving a pickup truck on the Salt Lake Highway on the northern outskirts of Las Vegas.
Oh.
I don't know what the fuck he's doing there, but why he's got a pickup truck now.
Drunk, though.
I have a lot of questions, but he was drinking. So March 28, 69, he fights Billy Joyner, who's 9-4 coming in. And this goes all 10 rounds, actually.
Really?
But he wins the unanimous decision. And it wasn't even close. All the judges, it was like 100-92, 100-90. Yeah. He kicked this guy's ass. So 47-3. Next up, he fights, this is May 19th, 69, George Scrap Iron Johnson.
Oh my!
Has there ever been more of a journeyman bum fighter? That's like the guys Rocky was fighting in the beginning of the first Rocky movie. I'm fighting Scrap Iron Johnson this week. I'm making you going to see the fight or what? You know, it's pretty good.
Scrap Iron.
I think I'm going to beat Scrap Iron. I think I could take him. You know, I'm just saying.
It's either that or a guy that does not fight. He just scraps.
He's just a scrap. He probably does scrap iron when he's not fighting. He's 17-17,
oh
so he's
God.
not making a living off boxing probably. And he gets knocked out in the 7th round, old Scrap Iron.
8 more to go.
8 more to go. September 23rd, 69, he fights the SD policeman again.
Oh, is that right?
Still don't know where the hell he's from, but this is the Sam Houston Memorial Coliseum in Houston, and knocks him out in the 3rd round.
All right.
So he's doing well here. Next up, December 6th, 69, he fights Leotis Martin. His alias, Otis Lee. Okay. Sure, why not? It's boxing.
Just reverse him.
He's 30-5 coming in, and this is the last fight of his career. Otis Lee here. Otis Lee's last fight. Okay, this is for the vacant North American Boxing Federation heavyweight title. It's a newly created title here. Liston ends up being knocked out in the 7th round.
Done.
9th round, I'm sorry, knocked out by Otis.
Really?
Yes, which is super strange because during this bout, Otis Lee, suffered a detached retina and had to, because he got knocked down in the 4th round and detached his retina, and the Sugar Ray Leonard injury, but he never fought again. This is his last fight.
One eye fought back and won.
This is, knocked him out, and that was his last fight, is knocking out Sonny Liston.
Wow.
That's it. Could never fight again. So Liston is 49-4 at that point.
But Sonny took his eye.
Sonny took his career from him
Wow.
here. So this is from the paper. What paper? The Scrantonian Tribute. It was a terrible week for the old burlesque team of Sonny Liston and Cassius Clay, with both of them suffering humiliating Saturday knockouts that should deliver them into retirement. Ali shouldn't fight anymore. He's fighting until 83 or some shit. Liston as a fighter and Clay as a bad actor. Liston closed his ignoble career with a 9-round loss to Philadelphian Leotis Martin at Las Vegas, where the seemingly 50-ish Sonny boy gambled once too often. A few hours later, Clay called the alleged star of the... Jesus Christ. A few hours later, Clay alleged the star... What the fuck? Of a racist Broadway show, Buck White. What the fuck does that mean? Buck White?
It's a person?
Alleged the star of a racist Broadway show, Buck White. Closed shop after 6 mediocre performances, conspicuous for a lack of customers. Oh, because he was acting. He was acting in a show called Buck White. That's what it was. Okay, Buck White.
And it closed.
After 6 things.
So nobody showed up.
Because nobody wants to watch a boxer act.
Right.
So of the... They said of the pair, one could find compassion only for Liston, legitimately counted out for the first time, the Miami Beach and Lewiston, Maine things were Clay, with Clay were hardly authentic. He just made a full sweeping. This person just hates Muhammad Ali. He won't call him Muhammad Ali, and he won't give him any credit for anything.
And ripping his acting even.
Anything. He just hates him. Yeah. That's all it is. And, wow, that's fucking funny. We're far from authentic, and therefore at the end of the road from whence there's no return. Even if Liston hesitated, quote, I think it's over, to admit to the inquisitive Howard Cosell on television, so even if he admits that. Only in Cosell's imaginative mind was Liston on a comeback journey. To anyone who knows the score, he was fighting in desperation to eke out an existence. With age and the handicaps, limitations it imposes against him, Liston did the best he could against a younger, more active foe. He even scored a knockdown as Martin backed away in the 4th and was hit by a sweeping left hook while seemingly off balance. In better times, Liston would have finished the job. Now he could only hope Martin would tire before him. It didn't happen, although by the 6th, both had lost most of their speed. Cosell didn't think so, but to the discerning televiewer, Liston lost the next 2 rounds as he dropped the first because Martin's jab was reaching the pathetic elder's face more often, whereas Sonny's punches came fewer and slower. By the end of the 8th, Liston was bleeding profusely from a gash on the nose and close to exhaustion, leaving chiefly the question whether Martin, who hadn't thrown a worthwhile right, could reach him. The Philadelphian waited almost a minute into the final fatal 9th before connecting. The first of 2 finishing rights staggered Liston and left him wide open for the crusher. There was never the slightest indication Liston would rise and resume. As the referee Mike Kaplan started the 10 count, Liston slightly moved his head for better comfort. If this were part of the performance, Clay should only act as well.
He got more comfortable on the canvas.
Let me get a little comfortable here. So June 29th, 1970, he's going to fight again. This is his last fight ever. He fights Chuck the Bayonne Bleeder Wepner, our guy.
Wepner retired him.
Our guy here. That's right. Chuck is 21-5-2 coming in, and we did a whole episode on him if you want to know. What a great episode. That's a fun one here. He tries to get more money before the fight, though.
Really?
Yes, he wants more money. He demanded an advance on his $13,000 guarantee. And, so Liston said, he wanted an advance and all that kind of thing. Then on the night of the fight, he demanded $200 for what he called training expenses.
Yeah.
So he said, no 200, no fight, not doing it. So the guy who was running the show said, not 1 cent. The deal was $13,000 for the whole package, and that's what you'll get. I'll call off the fight first.
Okay.
Liston said, then I don't dress. That's all. That's fine. So this went back and forth for a while. They're in Jersey City. Crowd's growing restive, restless and restive at the same time. The promoter climbed into the ring, ready to announce that refunds were going to be made at the box office. When suddenly Liston popped out of the dressing room wearing his robe and he said, "Fuck it, I got to do it." And it's his last fight. So Liston ends up winning the fight. He beats Wepner pretty good. Wepner wasn't a very skilled guy, but he was just tough as shit.
Yeah.
So the fight was stopped in the 9th round due to cuts over both of Wepner's eyes, which is like half his fights.
Yeah.
He's the Bayonne Bleeder. Wepner needed 72 stitches.
What?
72 stitches and suffered a broken cheekbone and nose.
How do you? That's so many. That's so many cuts.
Shit. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
That's like a car accident.
It makes sense because Wepner who, by the way, Wepner fought George Foreman. He fought Muhammad Ali. He said after all was said and done that Liston was the hardest puncher he ever faced.
Right.
And that was in his last fight, for Christ's sake. So not bad. Wepner went down in the 5th from a body punch. The fight stopped by a ring doctor in round 9 because of the cuts. So 50-4. He gets to 50 wins, Sonny does.
Holy fuck, man.
That's right, 50 wins. So July 10th, 1970, they said he sat at a table in an office and talked with reporters as his left hand was in a water bucket. And, he's got ice packs on him and everything else. He said he still fights because he has no other income.
Oh.
But he was asked, did he think before the fight that if he lost, he'd retire? And he said, that's not on my mind. You start thinking that and you're whooped before you get in there.
Okay.
They said, how do you feel your age? Are there any things you did a few years ago that you can't do now? And he said, no. And they said, who'd you like to fight next? And he said, Quarry, maybe, Frazier mostly.
He wants Joe.
Wow. They said, do you think the fight should have been stopped earlier? And he said, yeah. He said, I'm a bear, but not that much of a bear. Sure, I could have taken him out earlier, but it's like driving a car. I never put in gas when I think I got a tank full. That's the way I felt on points. So he's like, I'm ahead on points by a ton. I'm not going to take any risks.
Right.
They were asked how old he was, and he said 38.
Okay.
The reporter said, I read in the paper that you may be 45. And he said, I get angry at people who say that. That means they're calling my mother a liar.
Okay.
So that's his line
again.
here.
Yeah.
People around him laughed there, and they all laughed, and he kind of laughed too. Like, haha, that's my line here.
Yeah.
August 11th, 1970, he's supposed to fight Oscar Bonavena, but it's canceled because he's got other shit going on, because he's got a movie career coming out.
Oh.
That's what he thinks here. So Sonny's acting, and he plays the part of a farmer in the 1970 film Moonfire, which starred Richard Egan and Charles Napier. The plot here, truckers battle a Nazi who is hidden out in Mexico.
Call in the truckers.
Wow. 4.6 out of 10 on the IMDb there. So not wonderful. November 27th, 1970, he makes an appearance on the TV show Love American Style, which
What
is
is that?
very weird. It's a fucking TV show. You remember this? It's a song, too. You know the song?
Is it dating
Love
game?
American Style.
No.
It's a fucking song.
Never heard of it.
From 1970. Obviously, 60s, late 60s. It's some fucking show. I don't know. He's on it. So, November 27th, 1970 is when he's doing that. And here's the TV listings. Love American Style. Love and the Pen Pals is the name of it. And the next episode is Love and the Champ. By the way, Diane Keaton was on it.
Is that right?
Absolutely. She was on that show that night, and Sonny Liston is in this one. So there you go. Here's Sonny. That's him on the show, doing Love American Style.
Signing an autograph. Yeah.
Scribbles out an autograph for Godfrey Cambridge on Love American Style.
Huh.
So there he is. He also did a television commercial for Braniff Airlines, which was a
Canadian thing?
No, it's Texas airline, I believe. Texas, Oklahoma, that area. With Andy Warhol.
What?
Well, that is a weird combination.
Yeah.
Sonny Liston and Andy Warhol is an odd duo, I would say. It's strange.
Americana, Andy Warhol, that guy?
Fucking the artist, Andy Warhol, yeah. Fucking Andy Warhol, Andy
Put them
Warhol.
together.
He likes campy shit, and Sonny's campy. So December 2nd, 1970, he's recovering from a traffic accident.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. He's not doing well. He's in satisfactory condition, but he's been in the hospital for 6 days.
Jesus Christ.
They said he got what they described as minor injuries. You're not in the hospital for 6 days for minor injuries. It occurred on Thanksgiving Day. He was cited by the Highway Patrol for failure to yield right of way. Obviously, it's his fault. It wasn't until 2 days after the accident that he was admitted to the hospital. The hospital would not disclose the nature of his injuries, and they wouldn't talk. He's been treated by a plastic surgeon and a doctor who specializes in internal medicine. So we don't know what's wrong with Sonny here. He was driving a car which collided with one driven by some other guy here at an intersection. The other guy had minor injuries, no passengers in either car.
Okay.
December 16th, 1970, Sonny's arrested again.
Yeah?
Yep, he's got to get arrested, obviously, here. He was arrested for investigation of drunken driving again, released on $308 bail. They said he was driving his car erratically on the San Bernardino freeway in East Los Angeles, and it It was 7:30 at night. California Highway Patrol officer was sitting in his cruiser on the freeway when he noticed a Cadillac swerving in and out of eastbound lanes.
Yeah.
Is that Sonny Liston? Holy shit. Is that a yellow Cadillac? That's Sonny.
Is it yellow, pink, or blue? Is it any Easter color?
Weird pastel shit. Flipping on his flashing lights, he pulled behind the caddy and stopped him. He knew it was Sonny Liston because he asked for his license. Oh, he didn't know it was Sonny Liston because he asked for his license and said, "What do you do, sir?" Fuck business of it of yours, what I do for a living. I drive a car, motherfucker.
The cop
Shut
asked
up.
Sonny, what do you do?
What do you do, sir? Eat my cock is my answer to that. Fuck business of it. Does that have anything to do with what we're talking about right now? Nope. Fuck you.
Is that just him asking, what team do you play for? Is it one of those things?
I don't know. Maybe because he has a big Cadillac or something. Like,
and it's a
what
black guy behind the wheel? Is he just being a dummy?
No idea. He said this. He said, quote, "I'm a boxer, unemployed." At this point. So the cop described him as being moody. No shit.
Yeah.
That evening, he's brought to the LAPD's Central Booking Unit, charged with drunken driving, and there he goes. Now, on Sunday, December 27th, because that was December 16th.
Right.
So December 27th, reports start to surface here that Ali and Frazier have agreed to fight at Madison Square Garden, and that's a big deal. And, it was good stuff. So according to an account rendered by a sports writer, he said that he was about to come through town with $20,000 to repay an old loan. Sonny told his friend here. Yeah. He said, "Barney, be at the airport because from there I gotta be someplace." Geraldine flew to St. Louis. When she landed, she called Sonny to tell him she'd arrived safely. The next day, Sonny made a round of calls to friends and family, then bought himself the Christmas Day present of two... this is from the newspaper. Bought himself the Christmas Day present of two buxom white showgirls he brought to the Town Tavern on Jackson Street. In a corner booth, he spied Clyde Watkins and strolled over to him with the girls. "What you doing later?" Watkins asked him. "Coming to your house to eat," Sonny said jokingly. Watkins said he looked like he always looked. He said, "I didn't see anything much different about him." So this is fucking great. He said Sonny was feeling good. Looked like he was feeling good for the first time in months.
Yeah, the wife's out of town, and he bought two chicks.
Yeah, the wife's out of town. He's got two hot girls on his arm. He's like, this is great. So the next few days is kind of it's on shifting grounds here. Yeah. That they said that this is from an anonymous thing later on, but it's got links and some factual shit in it, so we don't know if this is true. But there's so many theories here, anything could be true, so we'll throw it out there. This poster on an anonymous thing said that Sonny had breakfast the morning of December 28th with somebody at Harry's, which was a breakfast place, at which time they went over plans for him to referee a fight in Japan. They're going to pay him a bunch of money. So according to this post, he returned back home later that morning and called his sparring partner to tell him he was leaving for Los Angeles, but that they should, get together when he returned for a couple days.
Right.
So this Bates confirmed this. In the early afternoon, he set off for L.A. in his new Cadillac, obviously. So now this anonymous post cites phone records from Sonny's car telephone as showing that he made 2 calls to Geraldine, one to Paramount Studios, where he was headed for a meeting, and because he's doing acting now, and several to the International, I guess the hotel. By 8:30 in the evening, he'd reached L.A. and he'd had dinner at the Biltmore Hotel with his agent. According to what this poster says, they also say that he was told by the hotel's bartender that the men had their last drinks about 11:30 p.m. They also cite valet records from the hotel. I don't think they keep fucking valet records from 40 years ago, as showing that the next day, Sonny took a cab to Paramount Studios, where they would have a record of when he came and went there, where he attended a 3:30 meeting with the casting director, Jim Merrick. According to this poster here, Merrick's office confirmed the meeting at the studio's front gate logbook showed it lasted until 5:30 p.m., so a 2-hour meeting. Sonny then took a cab back to the hotel, where the front desk records said that he checked out after midnight for the drive back to Vegas. So that's pretty specific shit there. So at this point, because apparently one of the last persons to see Sonny here was an undercover narcotics agent who stopped by to see him on December 30th. But they said, but we don't know what happened there. So This poster said when they asked Dick Robinson, then the head of the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs office in Vegas, what he thought, he said maybe it was something simple, like a guy wanted to shoot the shit about boxing. Who knows? Maybe. We don't know why they're meeting. Maybe he wanted him to do an anti-drug commercial. We don't fucking know. Who knows? So they said there weren't but 10 people who were working drug cases back then, he said, but he wasn't anywhere near Sonny's home that day, so he doesn't know. So a sergeant with the sheriff's department who worked closely with this Robinson person, who was the Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs person here, said that he didn't visit Liston, the guy. So there's differing reports whether this agent visited Liston or not, this federal agent. So one of the deputies who worked with this guy insisted he wasn't near Sonny that day, and they don't know him at all. So quote, there's a half dozen people on the Las Vegas Police Department who also could have fit the description of an undercover narcotics agent, but they don't know. So Geraldine hasn't spoken to him in about 2 weeks now, and had decided to return home after visiting her mother over Christmas. So she goes, gets here. It's 1,600 miles from St. Louis. She comes in here. She said that she was asleep, Geraldine, at her mother's house on December 28th when she was startled awake by a dream. She said, Sonny was falling in the shower and calling my name, Jerry, Jerry. I got real nervous. I told my mother I think something's wrong. So late in the evening, she returned home. She said there was a stack of newspapers piled at the door when she got home. She discovered that all the doors inside the house were unlocked, and she couldn't find Sonny. So she said there was a heavy smell in the air, though. It stunk in there. She said, quote, I thought he must have cooked something and left it on the stove. Okay. Something putrid. So as she followed the odor upstairs, she finds Sonny dead at the foot of the bed.
What?
Where he's been there for a week. Rotting. So he's at the end of the bed, just in his underwear.
Oh, God.
Dried blood congealed under his nose. And she had the 7-year-old with her, so she took the 7-year-old away from this. His body was very bloated. Yeah. He's been dead for 6 days.
Jesus. In Vegas?
In Vegas, yes. So his wife was, she said she thought it was heart failure, but then they found needle marks in his arm as well. So
that's never been a thing.
It's very strange. Now, it's believed that Geraldine avoided calling the police for several hours due to desperately trying to reach a doctor, with the naivety that Liston had a hope of she could bring him back. When medical aid finally arrived, they said, he's fucking dead, obviously.
This is a fucking dead
he's
man.
He's very dead. You can smell him. So this is from the newspaper. They said an autopsy yesterday failed to show the cause of death for Sonny Liston, who for 17 months was the heavyweight champion. His wife found him dead. Jesus Christ. Now they call it a $60,000 split-level house.
It's really fluctuating in Vegas.
The Vegas market
shifts. The real estate market is volatile.
Oof, it's sandy like the desert. I'll tell you what. A pathologist said that after an autopsy, he made no conclusive findings on the cause of death. He called for toxicological and microscopic studies of body fluids and tissues. The coroner's office said that results may not be put out until Friday or Saturday. They ruled out any possibility that he was murdered. Okay. They said that he apparently was undressing for bed when he fell over backwards and with such force that he broke the rail of a bench.
Jesus.
Captain Gene Clark, chief of detectives for the sheriff's department, said, quote, what may possibly be a quarter ounce of heroin was found in a balloon in the kitchen. A half ounce of what appeared to be marijuana was found in Liston's trousers pocket, he said, and a capsule containing a black powder was found on the dresser. And they said they're going to analyze all that. Sergeant Dennis Caputo of the Clark County Sheriff's Office here, department, said one of the first officers on the scene there, he found the quarter ounce of heroin in a balloon in the kitchen and the weed in his pocket, but no syringes or needles, which usually, you're probably going to have something unless he snorts it.
He doesn't have a syringe or needle. How is he going to do that marijuana?
That's what how the hell is he going to put that marijuana in his system?
I can tell you what they found that didn't contribute to his death.
That's one thing, especially in his pants pocket.
Yeah.
Some people found it suspicious that the authorities couldn't locate any drug paraphernalia that he would needed to inject the fatal dose, such as a spoon to cook the heroin or his arm's not wrapped in any, there's no tourniquet, there's no anything. But a former police sergeant said, quote, "It wasn't uncommon for family members in these cases to go through and tidy up to save family embarrassment." That's very common. When somebody dies like that, they'll see it's just your human nature. Clean up these needles, throw them away. Just you clean shit up before you have company. You know what I mean? They don't realize, oh, this is a crime scene.
Blaming Jerry already?
Yeah. Well, in the fucking homicide book, they talk about that all the time.
Really?
Where they'd have to go, "Did you throw away his works?" And they go, "Yeah." Like, why'd you do that?
Why would you do that?
We need that. It's important. So, and this is one of these where we hear this a lot with these kind of mysterious deaths. The priest that knows him said he was afraid of needles. He would do everything to avoid taking shots. They talk about his dentist said there's nothing Sonny feared more than a needle, and I know he's this dentist. So according to his trainer, he canceled a planned tour to Africa in '63 because he refused to get all the inoculations because he didn't want needles touching him. Didn't like all the needles. Liston's wife, Geraldine, also said that her husband would refuse basic medical care for things because he didn't want to get shots.
Wow.
They said the month before he died, some guy ran into Sonny while he was making a left turn. He had a whiplash, so they took him to the hospital, and he said, quote, "Look what they did," and he was pointing to some little bandage over the needle mark on his arm, even though he was in the hospital for other shit. He said he was more angry about that shot than he was about the car wreck. A couple weeks later, he was still complaining about that needle mark. To this day, I'm convinced that's what the coroner saw in his exam, the hospital needle mark.
Oh.
Which makes sense. It was just 2 weeks before that, not even 2 weeks, because if he died like Christmas Eve, that happened like the 17th. That's like 8 days later. So that's very possible. So they said he was super angry about that. On January 1st, Geraldine called Johnny Tocho there, or Tacho, and said that I want to call him Johnny Taco because that's just a cool name. And she said that he had not heard from Sonny in 3 days and that he was worried too. A few years before Johnny Taco died, he allegedly told one of his good friends that he went to Liston's house and found the door locked and his car in the driveway. So Johnny Taco called the police, and they broke into the house, and Taco said that the living room furniture was in disarray, but the house did not yet smell of death. He said they found Liston lying on his bed with a needle sticking out of his arm, and Taco left the house before the police did. So he's saying they found him, and they just left him there.
Is that right?
For Gerald, I guess they cleaned shit up and left.
And drug him off the bed because she found him on the floor.
Yeah, it was a broken thing he fell into. Now, a Liston biographer here said Johnny Taco wasn't a braggart. He told me in the strictest confidence, but it was like he wanted to get it off his chest. A lot of officers knew Sonny was dead before Geraldine returned home on January 5th, but they chose to let him rot.
Is that right?
He's saying they went in, found him, and went, well, we'll just leave. And that's a lot of paperwork, and they just left.
What?
I don't know about that. Now, there's also claim that he was murdered as well, obviously. Yeah. Publicist Harold Conrad and others believe Liston had been deeply involved as a bill collector of a loan sharking ring in Vegas, which is highly possible. When he tried to muscle in for a bigger share, he thinks his employers got him very drunk, took him home, and stuck him with a needle, is what they're saying. So professional gambler Lem Banker, he's a gambler named Banker? Lem Banker insists that Sonny was murdered by drug dealers to whom he'd become involved. Banker said he was told by police that Liston had been seen at a house that would be the target of a drug raid. Well, that doesn't mean he was killed by drug dealers. Banker said that Sheriff Ralph Lamb told me, "Tell your pal Sonny to stay away from the west side because we're going to bust the drug dealers." Banker later learned that the police told Liston the same thing to his face. Liston was allegedly present at dealer Earl Cage's residence during a raid by narcotics detectives. Because of that, Cage may have thought Sonny was an informant and shot him with a hot dose as retribution. So they're saying he gave him a hot shot. So Another theory, the mob promised Liston some money to throw the second Ali fight, but they never paid him. As the years passed and Liston got more poor, he got angry and told the mob he would go public with the story unless they gave him the money, and that got him killed. They would go, tell whatever the fuck you want. It was 7 years ago, 6 years, nobody fucking cares anymore.
Right.
And everyone thinks you're full of shit because that's all. No one will believe you. Number 4, Liston was supposed to take a dive when he fought Chuck Wepner 6 months earlier, and killing him was payback for his failure to do so. So, yeah, that's what they're talking about. So, Ali said this. There was a lot of people who wanted him dead. I'm sorry, that's not Ali. That is the director of something, so law enforcement. There's a lot of people who wanted him dead. He said the mob is unforgiving. Okay. So there's that. Geraldine said it was heart failure. So it's either a drug overdose, heart failure, the mob, this one, that one. But
it's crazy they can't pinpoint it.
Other people say it was a heroin overdose because of the needle mark on his arm and the green balloon of heroin found in his house as well. One theory is that Liston blabbed about being paid to throw the fight to Ali for payoffs and was murdered to shut him up. Sean Assail, he wrote a wrestling book too, I'm pretty sure. Headlocks and Lies or some, I can't remember the name of it, but he wrote a wrestling book, that guy. He said, quote, The Murder of Sonny Liston, Las Vegas Heroin and the Heavyweights. That's his book. Yeah. And says that whether or not Liston had money coming to him, his announcing it was not good. Yeah. So many believe Liston died what's called an enforced overdose, where they stuck him with it. Some theorize that a jazz musician who dealt heroin with Liston had a role in it. Alternately, a cop is believed to have been hired to kill Liston at the request of the mob. Mm-hmm. At least one person, a drug dealer / beautician named Earl Cage, may have feared Liston's loose lips. He said Cage thought Sonny was an informant for the cops. And there's that. And they said there's also Liston had been in a car accident a week before and could have mixed up medication to dull his pain with alcohol or other substances and had a lethal effect too, because he had painkillers.
Accidental overdose.
Absolutely. If you're a guy who's used to pain, you might need extra painkillers, and you mix that with just being a boozy guy. Yeah. Very easy to die like that.
Isn't 6 days later still enough of a window to be able to find out what's in his system?
Not in this. Probably back then it was probably a lot spottier.
Yeah.
So they said other theories too, including that a mobbed up prostitute was the killer.
Oh yeah.
That's
a good character.
That's a good one. Yeah. A boxing insider said, quote, Sonny Liston's fate was sealed in the womb. Okay. We don't know when that was, but
at some point in the 20s or 30s.
Some point. He reached for the stars, and when he grabbed the star, it burned him up. So here is Liston, a loner, was alone at the end.
Terrible.
You talk about all this type of shit. Liston was a bully. He relished playing the part. Here's the thing also. Mm-hmm. Liston, this is the crazy shit here. Liston, so we'll talk about it for a second here, but Sonny used his brother's birth certificate.
Is that right?
Whose brother's name on the birth certificate is Charles.
Oh.
So we don't even know what the fuck Sonny's name actually is, no less his fucking
It may
date
not
of
be
birth.
Charles?
It's pretty crazy. We'll talk about it. So they said that they said all about people are trying to like eulogize Sonny type of deal. Here's one about his it's a fluff piece here from the Philadelphia Daily News in 1971. Quote, I was sitting in a dreary flat in Belfast, rapping with a guy. The night word came over TV about Sonny Liston had died. If I'd been alone, I think I would have cried. There's always so much grim mythology about the poor guy, so little fact. I decided no matter how many months would pass before I'd get home, I'd write one last piece about Sonny Liston. At one time, I'd almost been his Boswell. This was when I was about the only reporter in America Sonny would talk to. You gonna write my life story, the big guy used to tell me. You're my man. He had a funny idea of how his biography should be written. No references to his scrapes with the law. Nothing about his 2 prison terms. Quote, only the good stuff, Sonny would beam. Actually believing he could dispel all the ghosts in his past by just omitting them from his life story. It could have never been, of course, because the ghosts from Sonny's past had a bent for turning up, palms out. One such ghost turned up at Sonny's Aurora, Illinois training camp just before the first title fight with Floyd Patterson in 1962. There's a guy here who claims to be your brother, Liston was told by a trainer. But the funny part is he says his name is Charles E. Liston.
Right.
So Sonny said, quote, chase the bum.
Get him out of here.
Yes. He came looking for me when I was doing time in Jefferson City, too. Liston didn't grant his brother an audience. That's his brother whose fucking birth certificate he used.
He's using your identity.
We don't even know what his real name is.
He might be older than that.
He might be older. His name could be Chris. We have no fucking idea. They could have, with 25 kids, they might have forgotten what they named him, and they were like, oh, shit, we already had a Charles. Fuck. I forgot about that. Shit. All right, well, now we have two Charleses.
There's a Charlie around here? Who knew?
Chuck and Charles. You're Chuck now. Younger one's Chuck.
Holy.
So he said Liston never did grant his brother that audience, but the significance of the visit was to grow and dwell on his mind later when sports writers started to speculate on his true age. The fact of the matter was Sonny had to use his brother's birth certificate because he didn't have one of his own. One of 24 brothers and sisters from a sharecropping background in Arkansas, he never knew how old he really was. It's a hell of a way to go through life, especially for a fighter. One of the enduring myths about Liston concerned his alleged lack of intelligence and wit. He was a functional illiterate, true, but that was a reflection of his background, not his intelligence. People still blink when I say this, but I found Sonny Liston to be one of the most intelligent athletes I ever knew. Man, he didn't have an education. He never went to school. How the fuck was he supposed to read?
Yeah.
As for wit, Sonny had it in abundance. He simply was very selective about sharing it with others. A hangover gathered from his prison years. That makes sense.
What if, because black people age so well, what if he died of old age?
Yeah, maybe he was actually 76 years old. He's actually 30 years older than we thought. He's actually older than his mom.
He was the firstborn.
Before he was his mom's dad. He was his own grandfather. Hi, I'm Sonny Liston. I'm my own grandfather. Nice to meet you. So, to compensate for his inability to read, he has developed enormous memory capacity. I remember our post-meal walks around the half-mile track between the Thunderbird Inn in Las Vegas, where Sonny trained for his second fight with Patterson. For diversion, he'd recite word for word every LP record comic like Red Fox and Pigmeat had ever made.
What?
He just recited every...
He knows all the records.
Yeah, he just listened to it over and over.
Wow.
Like we did when we were kids.
Yeah.
So maybe he's a comic in there somewhere. Then he'd recreate past conversations involving one humorous situation or another, duplicating every last accent and tonal nuance. He goes on to wrap it up by saying that no matter when his life story would be told, it could hardly include only the good stuff. Yeah. And then right below this touching article is an ad for porn. This girl, look at her face. She looks like
she's in the middle of it. Jesus.
The title is Sex Cures the Crazy. An exciting drama, pregnant with sex and its variations. Pregnant? That's a weird way to put it.
It's full of it.
Charlene's Injustice. Both films in sensational color. I would hope so. Jesus Christ. So Sonny is buried. Here is his grave.
Oh, my.
There's got a little boxing glove in it that he puts down there. And just on his grave, it's just, quote, a man. That's it.
A man.
A man. His birth date for a laugh.
32.
32 to 70. A man, which he's a man. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
So there's tributes to a bronze copy of a marble statue of Liston sculpted by Alfred Hrdlicka in 1964 was erected in 2008 between Old Castle and Karlsplatz in Stuttgart, Germany, and a successful racehorse which won the Irish St. Leger Classic was nicknamed Sonny Boy Liston, or was named Sonny Boy Liston. So there's some tributes. There's Sonny Liston, and one of the craziest fucking stories we've ever heard in my life, between the arrests and the...
What a short life to have full of so much chaos.
Full or long life. We don't know. Short or long life or medium life.
The man may have been 70, James.
He could have lived his life expectancy. We don't know. Either way, that's Sonny Liston.
Yeah.
That's why we needed 3 parts, because he did a whole lot. Hope you enjoyed Sonny. And if you did, tell the world, get on whatever app you're listening to and give us 5 stars. It really does help drive us up the charts. Right. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com right now. Get your tickets, live shows, virtual live shows, still available for purchase. Get in there. Also, May 5th in Detroit, May 6th in Pittsburgh. Get your asses in there. Come see us and get your merch as well while you're in there. Patreon.com/crime and sports. All your bonus episodes, new episodes every other week. We're running late, so I'm not even going to talk about them and get into them this week. But
you know where it is.
You know where it is. You know you're getting 2 new episodes, and we had personal ads last week, so fucking listen up. And BTK Childhood, about him stroking his grandmother's hair and shit. Creepy as fuck.
Jerking off to family members.
Tying self-bondage.
Yikes.
We'll talk all about that. So patreon.com/crime and sports, and you get a bonus. You get a shout-out at the end of the show as well. So do that. Follow us on social media at Crime and Sports on Facebook and Twitter at Smalltown Smalltown Murders. It's Crime and Sports, Small Town Murder on Instagram. There you go. So do that. Follow us. Keep hanging out. But right now, I need to hear the names of the people, Jimmy. The most wonderful fucking people on the face of the earth. The people who keep this show going. Hit me with the names of the fantastic people who have donated this week and made our lives much easier. Jimmy, hit me with them right fucking now.
This week's executive producer are Jordan Bennett, Alec Hawk Frost. Happy birthday, Alec. Clayton Love. Happy birthday. Joel Celerat. Enidza probably. Ott, Clay, and Clay Thorson's friend Rich. Hang in there, Rich. Not Critch.
Critch.
It's Clay's friend Rich. Rich, it's a tough life.
If you know anyone named Critch also, you
tell them also. Yeah, you're a tough teamster. Hang in. Other producers this week are Liz Vasquez, Andre and Charlie Moldova, Big Ragusa, Carmine Ragusa's husband.
Some 90 Day Fiance references there before.
And Carmine's wife. I think that's what it is. I don't know. Rabbi Shmolovich's new mustache, Haystacks Calhoun, Ashley Dick. At the United States Postal Service. Thank you, Ashley.
Well, thank you.
Liz Hayden and her friend Jerry. Happy birthday, Jerry. Happy birthday, Janice Jerry. Hill, Shepard Bassett, Larry Burst, Marianne with no last name, Mallory Konofsky, Haley McHell, Ted Van Poppel, Mackenzie Garreau, Lucy, nope, that's Susie. Bastille, Jamie Boner, yep, or Bonner, probably Bonner, I don't know. Mary Smith, M.S. Yarborough, Anna Jantz maybe, William Bruni Jr., Bobby with no last name, Christy Festermacher, Becca with no last name, Jacob Desrockers, and Kit Shaw, and Keith maybe, on Keith probably, Amanda Oborski, oh boy, Michael Maynard, Lori Bauer, and Andrew Jones, Marianne with no last name. Isn't that Chipper Jones' name, Andrew Jones? I think so.
No, it's
Wasn't
Larry.
It? Chipper Jones' name is Larry?
I believe he's Larry. Andrew Jones was the center fielder they had.
That's right. You're right.
Those 90s.
Andrew Hansen, Sherry Whitgraham maybe, Ryan Dean, Shannon Jameson, Luis Castro, Nicole Brianna, Caitlin Fritzinger, Tilda Preble, Bronston Brown, Jessica Hallmark, Cheyenne Reed, Micah with no last name, Confusing Shit, Grace with no last name, Sheila Torres, Lexi with no last name, Dr. Love Muscle, and his cat, Mr. Buttons, Julie O'Neill, Rebecca Lague. What? I think I spelled that wrong. Jillian Nusslein. Sorry, Rebecca.
Sorry.
Rebecca L. Julian Nusslein. Nicole Veach maybe. Lauren Gorman. Barbara with no last name. Ann Gears. Rachel Roberts. Muff Punter. Gross. Nicole Jennings. Carrie Fletcher. Bucket of Wriggling Peckers. TJ S. Scren. Megan Campbell. Demon Juice. Elizabeth Thrower. Brandy Hunter. Marissa Heacock. Andrew with no last name. Kenny Coondog? What? Rebecca Simpson, Dana LaShawn Gleason, Juliana Taylor, Corey Forsman, Miles Hollywood, Neurodivergent Hippie, Victoria Gray Bross, Chelsea with no last name, Kate Gray, Joe Galante, Jessica with no last name, Caitlin Scott, Nicole Dubé, maybe Doobie, Jay 40, Freight. Sorry, Jay. Jonathan Tippett, Leah Kaufman, Travis Hembry, Joanna Slattery, A. Rivera, Snoop Warg, Crystal Cooper, Carla Evans, Harvey Elder, Christy Mitchell, Magna Trzowski, H.S., no name, just H and an S. Micah Farmer, yeah. Pat McGroin, Pat McGroin. I know what you're doing. Amy Hilliker, Alicia Rose, Jared Redding, Cindy with no last name, Robert Bensept, Patrick Lofney, Jillian Newingham, MMM, 2 M's, Jasmine Sullivan, Michael with no last name, Aiden LeBlanc, Abby M, Tammy Harper, Bryce Schmidtke, John Shea, Callie Ho, Callie Howe, Ashley Smaltz, Ashley Frazier, Leo Rios, Eric Falk, Chuck with no last name, Allison Hogue, Sarah Sue McLean, Lauren Jones, James Pilson, Keith Wilson, Josh Goodenough, Megan Hupp, David Bailey, Grandmaster Gerald, Bridget Nofton maybe, Sean with no last name, Kevin Williams, probably not that one, Van Lambert, Rebecca with no last name, Chupa Maveriga, how dare you, Faith Sadowski, Sarah Curran, Dusty Kendall, Jennifer Dexter, Anthony Kaczynski, Shannon Latanich, Emily Scott, Sasha Elmore, Gabriel Lopez, Cora Gavitt, Josh Bentley, Joanna Carr, that's a real name, Joanna S.F., Miranda G., Amy Armstrong, Tyler Scott, Brittany Scott, Steve Maladin, Matt Krause, Megan Williams, Elias, the dude, Mark Villanueva, Margaret Schaefer, Molly Pine, Alex Hatfield Evans, Alejandra Herrera, Rebecca Kiker, and all of our patrons. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody, from the bottom of our hearts. We can't tell you how much we appreciate all that you do for us. Thank you so much. And keep hanging out with us, and hopefully you'll make it to a live show. Come see it. It's a fun time.
Come on out
and see us. Thank you to everybody for all that you do for us. And if you want to follow us on social media individually, very easy to do. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. There's links to everything. Drop that menu, find them, do that. Keep coming back and listening to us. And live from the Crime and Sports Studios West, we will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.